up, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of the On the Runs podcast. Man, did I not think that was going to become a thing this year when I really extend that on. But man, that became a thing. So welcome to part one of the 2024 Best of On the Runs podcast. I said that all messed up too. I'm just winging this, guys. Listen, what's up? It is December. We take December off, in July typically too. We still do some recordings. We leave the dates blank to catch up for anyone we had to postpone with. So we're still working. We actually have a couple recordings this week. We're doing midday too. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of different. But I have gone back to the very beginning of the year, and I have taken some clips of every episode we've had with a guest, and also one from our amazing Peloton trip. That's a story that just can never be forgotten. It was amazing. But yeah, we're going back to the beginning of the year, starting it off with Becs Gentry and finishing it with episode 99. Pretty much Q1, quarter one here, the best of. And we're going to have the best of quarter two next week for you. And we're also going to have some OTR classics throughout this month of December. We are working on getting some amazing 777 content. That's coming into the works. Don't know if you're going to get that in December, but you're going to get it. You are going to get to hear it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be like a whole week dedicated. But man, so many cool stories. I mean, we started off the year great with Becs Gentry, but honestly, the next episode was huge. We had Jared Ewing. Jared's story was amazing. I went into that one knowing nothing about like his actual injury or how it happened. We had Candice Burrows and Mike Seaman, the Peloton trip, of course. Remember, I told you guys about getting a Daytona 500 champion on the podcast. I achieved that. That was pretty freaking awesome. And you actually heard more stories about me maybe in that episode than him. We had Letty from the Running Marathon podcast, episode 99, the great one with the Will Run For podcast. We also had the Asthma Runner and the Bearded Runner, Shaina Marie, Abbi Bandai, and oh my God, Pam Rickard. So freaking amazing. What a year we had. It was absolutely epic. And I just loved going back and editing these clips, as I told you. It was so much fun. So we have part one today. Next week, we'll have part two. Later this week on Thursday, you're going to get an OTR classic, and I have rules for those. They can't be this year. They have to be over a year old. So you're going to get to hear some classics from 2023 that were just huge. It kind of made some of you guys go, what, really? You got that person? And yeah, we got that person. So you're going to hear some really awesome clips and classics in the next couple of weeks before the Christmas special, and maybe before 777 recap with a bunch of people from the 777, the great world race. So guys, don't forget, like, follow, subscribe, do all the cool things, leave a review, write a comment. We have so much fun doing this podcast. This was technically year 3, but it was really like our second full-time year. Every week we're dropping an episode. Like, we did it, damn it. That's right. We freaking did it. But guys, enjoy this. They're just going to click off 1, 2, 3, 4. The best of 2024, part 1, quarter 1. Enjoy, guys. Talk to you soon. You mentioned Rebecca pulled you over, and you came from London or England, the UK, I don't know what to call it, but you came to the States. How was that move to Peloton?
I mean, it was fantastic. It was a whirlwind of difference from what I was doing before. The basis of it's the same, running coach. But then all of a sudden I was cast in a cast. I was, it's sort of it is a massive production and has only grown exponentially over the past 6 years. And it was just a really great learning curve. I absolutely have never shied away of being on a stage as much as I could. I wanted to be, foreign affairs correspondent. I wanted to be a news reporter. I wanted to be an actress, anything like that when I was younger. So even when we did the Nike runs, I always had to be the person who was with the microphone at the start of the runs, getting everyone together. And so it was elevating that side of what I'd already done in my running career. And I don't know, just doing it on this level. And as our community grew, I think that was really, really special to just meet members in the studio and then see them stay with us. And to this day, I still see people who come to PSNY who are like, oh, I ran with you back in 2018, 2019. And you're like, wow, that's wild that you've been running with us for that long. And I kind of have known you through the leaderboard or through social media for that long. And it just, it never fails to warm my heart. And I'm very much a running coach first, entertainer second. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody with how I coach and how I deliver my classes. But I do enjoy the entertainer side of it. I'm a doofus. I'm not funny, but find myself funny. And
you are funny.
You're very relatable, Becs, and that's one of the reasons I love you so much is that like we can just relate to everything you say. So it's awesome, and you have a loyal group of I guess Becs Beasts OGs. Like they were with you from the very beginning. I'm kind of sad I didn't jump on the bandwagon until 2020 was when I first got into it. But yeah, everybody just loves your style, and it's great.
Thank you. No, I try to keep it real. You know, life isn't all unicorns and rainbows. Mm-hmm. There's definitely those gray clouds as well. So yeah, I'm just here to be as real as I can.
Good. That's kind of what our podcast is about. We want to show like the ups, downs, and code browns of the running world. So.
Oh yeah.
What year did you come to the U.S.?
2018.
Okay, so you were actually here longer than I thought before COVID, because I was thinking it was even less than a year. COVID happened. How was life in New York City? I kind of know a little because my sister lives in New York City, but how was that with COVID, being from the UK, away from your family, trying to figure out work? I think you were working out in your living room doing your Peloton classes. How was that whole year or so of life for all of us?
Yeah.
But mostly you.
It was a testament to the company of how we kind of pivoted and were able to to begin with, we went to live from home, which was just unreal. I mean, the world shut down and I think we all thought like, oh, okay, what are we going to do? Like, how is this going to work? Everything's in the studio. We would I think Denise can probably tell us the exact date. I feel like it was almost to the date when we were going to open PSNY, was when COVID hit. Like was ready to go. And we'd been working on it since before I joined. I believe we had the plans of moving there. So before 2018. So obviously that hits and we were it was just wow when the team were like, okay, so we're going to deliver a tread to your house. I was like, okay, my Brooklyn apartment. Okay. I had a spare room. So I was like, this is fine. I can turn this into the gym. It was a dream come true, to be quite honest, to have a tread at home too. So selfishly, I was like, I'll do it. And so, yeah, Austin was my PA, camera guy, sound check, help on everything. We had this set up delivered to our house, like people in hazmat suits, more or less, like zero content. And it was unreal. And the team, everyone was remote. So like all of our production team were all in their own apartments, but they were helping us set up these cameras and these studio level cameras. I mean, you guys have seen the content still there to be seen. It was shot. It wasn't just like me grabbing my iPhone being like, all right, work along with me. This is highly produced content. And yeah, I think we just we got into a schedule pretty quickly and we got into call time. You know, it was so weird having a call time in my own house. Like, okay, this is your call time, like hair and makeup done. And it had to be a bit longer because of all of the possible errors that could go wrong with internet and everything. And we did the best we could to keep the community moving and keep everybody, you know, with that positivity that Peloton has brought since day one into people's lives. So I feel really lucky to have been one of the instructors who A, was able to do it, and B, was still able to connect on a normal level with our members out there. And then the city of New York and our Peloton team worked tirelessly to get us those permits that allowed us to be deemed essential workers in the end, so we could get into the studio. And again, it was like hazmat suit operation in the studio. It was like walking. I never, thank goodness, walked into a hospital in COVID, but from what I see, it kind of felt like that. Like everything was so sterile. There was only ever one person in the studios, and it was just, we had like hospital grade cleaners. It was unreal. It was so well put together. And as much as it helped everyone at home, I think people forget, like, again, that Peloton instructors are normal people. It helped us so much. It helped me. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but maintain some familiarity and normality in our lives in that time that was just in flux. Everything was just in this weird state of, what is this? What's going on? Is it ever going to end? And just knowing that we could continue our jobs was a revelation, because at the start it was like, well, how on earth are we going to continue our jobs? And then it happened. So that was strange to kind of, we were in like certain days, you just had like 2 or 3 days where you'd go in and record some content and then go back to our little bubbles out of the city or wherever we were. So yeah, I look back on that with such appreciation for all of our teams, like not just everyone who got it working, but like our maintenance teams and the teams who carried on running the studio to get us all in and out safely was just a real wow.
I appreciate all the creativity you guys put in, because it really did keep the members engaged, and it kind of just kept us going too. Like, I know it was a huge motivator for you guys, but us at home, we were in the same situations. Like, we didn't know what to do. We couldn't go to our gyms. We didn't feel safe going outside. So we had a nice outlet through Peloton. And I mean, that's pretty much what kicked off my real running journey. Like, I really got into it in 2020. So I give a lot of credit to you and the other Peloton trainers for like keeping the engagement. It was super helpful.
Yeah, it was like, it's just like thinking now, talking about it, I'm like, God, do you remember when people were like, you shouldn't run outside? Like, you can't run outside. It's going to, this
6 feet apart,
touch you. Like, I felt like it was like a horror movie. There was this like green germ air that just comes up. I was like, wow. And we didn't we would run with those like bandanas over our faces and like all sorts. It was, wow, what a time.
So we'll go back. We're going back to the. I'm on the treadmill, right? So I was just doing this, just trying to do a little bit more on the treadmill each day, to be honest. And I started a walk jog routine, and then eventually I got up to like 3 miles, and I was like, "Yo, I could do like a 5K technically," you know. So I was like, "This is cool." So then I knew I was kind of cooking with some oil here.
Yeah.
By no means did I think I could do anything like crazy, but again, I was like, "Well, I know I can at least do 3 miles." And so once I got up to like a 3 mile mark, then it had been like April. So it had been like 4 months.
Okay.
And then the doctor was finally like, hey, you can go back to work in Columbus finally. So I got out of my buddy's house, got down there. And so I was still in my active duty guard job. And so they were pretty cool about it. They're like, hey, just go to the gym or do your physical therapy 4 hours in the morning, then just come and work half a day. Mm-hmm. And so that really allowed me to really get in better shape too, because I went to Ohio State's recreational facility. I got a pass there, and I would go there every morning for like 3 hours. And I would do my full routine. I would take my time. I would get on the treadmill, the stair stepper, get on the bike, and I would just do that. And again, every day I'd get farther and farther on that treadmill up. I could get up to like 6 miles. Again, it was still a walk jog routine. Mm-hmm. And so by this time, I think it was like Memorial Day came around, and I was like, hey, I want to go do this 5K. It was like, I forget what kind of 5K it was.
Like
but it was
just
Memorial
6
Day
months
weekend.
later.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had told me at one point that like I wasn't going to even walk until like February, and I wasn't even going to be able to walk or jog for like 6 months or something like that. And so I was like really like just beating everything fairly quick, but that's all because I wasn't doing the minimum. I was doing a little bit more
above and beyond.
That's what you have to do if you really want to heal faster or come back faster. You know your body, but also you got to do more than the minimum. They give you a minimum for a reason because the majority of people, that's all they're going to do. But if you do more, you're going to come back faster. And I've always known that. I've always wanted to come back faster so I could do my job, so I could get back to my life as fast as possible.
Yeah, you have that motivation behind you, so that's going to spur you forward.
So I was able to do that 5K, and I was actually able to jog the entire thing. It took me an awful long time, but I was jogging it because at that point I could jog the 6 miles. So I was able to run the whole 5K, and so I was pretty proud of myself. And so at this point, we got to like June. I still had the same routine. So in the middle of July is finally when work was like, hey, like we'll clear you to do the full-time job again or whatever. So I had a buddy that wanted to do the Air Force Marathon. He didn't want to do the marathon though. He wanted to do the 10K. This was like in September. So 9 months after my accident, I did this 10K with him at the Air Force Marathon, and it went good. He's like, we'll just do whatever you want to do. I was like, all right, we're going to do this walk jog routine. So I'd walk a quarter mile. I would jog the rest of the mile. I'd walk a quarter mile, jog the rest of the mile. And I did that for the 6.2 miles, completed it. And again, I was pretty proud of myself. And then that's when I knew I really I could do something with this. I was like, if I just keep this walk jog routine going and just go a little bit farther each day, I was like, who knows, like what's my real limit? You know? So coming up in October was going to be the Columbus Marathon, which I had did twice already. It was like a favorite of mine.
Is this the nationwide one?
That was
the one for like the nationwide hospital. Yeah, we know it.
Didn't Patrick just did the half, right?
Yeah,
I think he just did the half.
And they have all the kids out there. You can high five and everything. It's an awesome marathon.
Awesome. Yeah, it's one of my favorites, especially you go through Ohio State's campus. And so it brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. So it's one of my favorites. But
awesome.
So I signed up I was like, I'm going to sign up for the half marathon because I know I can at least do a 10K. So I was like, all right. So the plan was to do, 3 or 4 miles, like maybe once or twice a week on the treadmill. And then every Saturday, I was going to go out and do my long run. And so I just went, it was like, hey, this week I'm going to do 8 miles. The next week I'll do 9 miles. And I worked it out to where the week before the marathon, I was going to get up to 13 miles because I didn't want to show up to the marathon and not be able to do the half marathon. I signed up for a half marathon and I was like, I got to see if I can even do it. I want to make sure so I don't go out there like a fool or something. And so, I got up to the week before and I did my own half marathon on my own. So walk jog routine out in one of these parks. Super proud of myself. And what was awesome at this point too was every new distance was a new PR because I called it my post-accident PR. So it was like every time I went out there, if I could go a little bit farther, it's a new PR. So I was like, let's see. And again, I had no idea how far I could go. So once I did that, I was like, okay. I was like, I'm going to be okay to do this half marathon. But then this crazy idea came and it was like, dude, well, you did 13. Maybe you can do 14. Maybe you can do 15, right? So I was like, okay. So then I had changed my bibs over to the full marathon. And so I was like, I'm just going to see what I can do. And so the morning showed up. I had 2 buddies that were going to do the half marathon with me. And I told them the same thing. I was like, we're going to see how this goes. I was like, if I'm feeling like if I can't do no farther, we'll do the half marathon and I'll just get off. Don't really care about the medal or anything like that. I was like, but if I feel good, I'm just going to keep going and see how far I can go. We'll see where this limit is. And so that's what I did. So we did a nice walk, jog, that same routine, walk a quarter mile, jog the rest of the mile. And so I did that. And so we get up to mile 12 and I was feeling good. And my buddies looked at me and they were like, hey, how you feeling? And I was like, I'm feeling good. I was like, I think I can go a little bit farther. And they looked at me like I was crazy. So we get to the point where like it splits off like a fork, when we went away. And I just gave them both a big hug and they were like, we're not going with you. Like, we're not going no farther with you.
Yeah. You're on your own.
We did our half marathon. You're crazy. You go do your good luck and we'll see you afterwards. So I was like, okay, cool. So then I had my phone. I texted my parents, and I was like, because they was there. So I was like, hey,
letting them know,
like,
I'm in it for the long haul. Here we go.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to try to go a little bit farther. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I may need you to pick me up at mile 15 or 16. I don't know. I was like, but just keep your phone handy and we'll see where I go. And so literally at that point, it was the same thing. I kept that routine going. But then as the miles would come on, around like mile 14 or 15, really down in that bad leg in that ankle area, all my tendons were pretty inflamed. I could tell it was almost like being on glass in a way.
You said those were damaged to begin with, like during your accident. So okay.
Yeah,
but
and so really at this point, and
fixed it or.
Well, at this point, no, in that ankle, it was still just as good as it was going to get. So like I'm missing some of those tendons and stuff. And so there's not really good stability in that. And so, I mean, of course I wear my compression sock and my Achilles tendon brace or whatever. And so I would do that. But so I started getting a really sharp pain down in there. And I was like, I don't want to quit. I was like, I know I can go just a little bit farther. And so I got into this mindset was, could I do one more mile? I'd get to one more mile. I was like, can I do one more mile? And I was like,
taking baby steps at a time. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, I think I can. So I was like, all right. So then I would but then I started changing the routine up. I was like, I can't jog for 3/4 of a mile no more. I was like, so then I'd walk a half mile, jog a half mile. And so I did that up to about, 1 mile at a time. I got to mile like 20 and I was still, jonesing and feeling the endorphins, but my leg was my ankle was pretty bad at this point, even worse. But I was like, can I go one more mile? Yeah, I think I can. And so then at this point, it became more walking and less jogging. So probably like walking like 3/4 and jogging a 1/4 mile. But I just knew like, hey, if I could just go one more mile, I could probably do this routine, even though I'm in this pain. I was like, I think I can just go one more mile. And by the time I got up to mile 22, you knew I wasn't stopping. No, I was going to finish the thing.
You made it that far. No way.
By all means necessary, right? Yeah. So the best part of all this was my buddy who's a doctor down in Columbus, and he's coincidentally an orthopedic surgeon. He had a nice house right along the route near like mile 24, and he's a big bourbon guy. Same with me. And so I told him like, hey, I'm doing this like whole marathon, and he's like can't believe it because he knows what it is. Like he knows he was there in the hospital room with me, so he's like just blown. He's like, you name the bourbon you want, I'll be outside with it. So I told him Blanton, which Blanton's was like a really good bourbon. So he comes outside. I meet him around the mile 24 marker. He toasts me. I do like a shot of it. I drink it or whatever. We toast. He hugs me and tells me good luck and that I'm crazy. And I was like, yeah, I get it. I know.
Yeah.
And so literally I just kept doing it. And before you knew it, I made it to mile 26, and I saw my parents and everybody, those two guys that was with me all on the side, and just, I just couldn't believe it. I had
the two guys who wrapped your leg when the accident happened. Those two guys.
No. These are the two guys that ran the half marathon, went the half marathon with me, and they weren't crazy enough to run the full marathon with me. So they were with my parents.
Well, they had two good legs.
It was just, yeah. I mean, who needs those two good legs anyway, right? So that was like a pretty proud moment. And then I completed the marathon. And that was nothing I can't even explain it. It was just probably by far one of my proudest moments in my entire life.
It's giving me goosebumps. I'm telling you.
I was just elated. It took me 5 hours and 55 minutes. And so
that is great.
So still not terrible, but I couldn't believe it. And so I completed it. And so what's crazy is 10 months after they told me I was never going to run marathons again, I ran a marathon 10 months later.
Well, I don't know what says, I'll show you, other than running a marathon 10 months after that diagnosis. That is incredible to me. I am so proud of you. That is just something so huge to get over. And you did it.
Yeah, exactly. And
one of the questions I wrote down during the story was, do you stay in touch with your doctors? And 10 months later, did they know you were doing this? I know the one guy at mile 24 did, but did they know at the time? And do you still stay in touch with them? Like when you go for checkups or stuff, is it these same guys who, like the guy who was so bummed out about how it didn't go as planned on that third surgery?
Yeah. So that guy I actually stay in touch with the most, because he was the one I actually would see for regular checkups afterward. He became my main doctor. The trauma surgeon and stuff like that, I didn't see as much. And, I would stay in touch with them, and I'd let them know, like, hey, I just finished a 5K. Hey, I just finished a 10K, and because, and really, again, it wasn't in spite or anything like that. I just know, like, doctors go, like, work with a lot of patients, and I know that a lot of it's tough, right? Like, they're working with some people that, like, can't do stuff like that, or like will never. And so I'm not saying like it's all like dark and gloomy, but at the same time, I know it's always good to hear a positive story, a good thing, especially from someone that you worked on. And so I took it as like hey, like, look what you were able to help me do, in spite of maybe whatever your innocent thoughts were on, like, never run a marathon, this or that. But just like, I'm like, hey, like, this is a group effort. All you guys should be very proud that, like, you helped get me to this point. And so at all points, like, I would even text, like, there was one of the floor nurses that, like, wanted to get a hold of me this one day for, like, so I could write up something to the nurses thanking them or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd stay in touch with all of them, and I was letting them know each and every bit, like, hey, I'm doing this 10K. Hey, I'm doing this half marathon and then full marathon. But really, the one doctor I made in touch with was the one that I had that long surgery with. But he's to this day is the guy I go to if I have like something, like an issue or something, and need to get like a script wrote up or something.
Yeah.
But he's extremely proud. To this day, I'm holding him to it. He's supposed to run a half marathon with me one day. I'm trying to get him to do a full marathon. But I told him, the funny thing is when he was like, yeah, we'll do a half marathon. Winners got to get the other losers got to get the other person beers. And I was like, how about you owe me you owe me a lat muscle.
There you go.
I was like, you owe me a lat muscle or whatever.
That's a good
one. He was like, yeah.
I think it's really good that you were still in touch with your doctors, because they're just following the science. And a lot of, like, you defied the science. You went above and beyond, exceeded expectations. According to the science, like, you shouldn't have done that well, but you just kind of gave them the finger and said, no, this is what's going to happen. So just for them to see that it could happen, and that now there's scientific evidence for that, like, that's huge. That's just, I'm still like, my mind is blown.
Yeah, it's new. It's I mean, so the first show we ran in the UK was in 2018. So we I've been an events guy for 20 plus years, so it's pretty much all I've ever done. So I organized exhibitions, and I worked for big companies that do that, and I sort of built a career doing that, doing really boring shows. So
what's a boring show though?
Construction, fintech,
military, defense, blah, boring.
No, I didn't do any of that. But
that's what I
mean. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. So the company I work for ran the largest defense show in the UK. So, so I was doing stuff like that. I had a really good job, and I did well. Like, I started off as a junior, worked my way up, and ended up running a portfolio of events. But it wasn't my passion. I was now like getting really passionate about running, and I'd had this. Every events person has got like a pub idea. So you go into the pub, and after like 10 pints, you're like, "This is what I'd do if I had my own thing, man. I'd be amazing." And mine was the running show. The thing that I thought was weird was that there were big shows for runners, but they were marathon expos, and they happened at the wrong time to buy stuff, because it was the week before the race.
You're not supposed to do new things on race day. New things, yeah.
Don't try new nutrition. Don't try new trainers. Don't buy any of that a week before the race. But also, they were marathon expos. And actually, running is way more than a marathon. There was no inclusion for people who were just getting started. There's no inclusion for people who were going beyond or doing different distances at different paces. And I just thought, actually, runners are all pretty cool. And actually, they all blend together regardless of distance or time. Most runners are just decent. So wouldn't it be cool to create like a meeting point for the community? That was my big idea. And I would wang on about this all the time. Like, I'd have a few beers, and I remember we were driving back. We'd been out with some friends, and we were driving back on a long car journey. And I was having my usual, this is what I should do. And my wife just turned to me and went, will you stop talking about it? Just
do it.
Exactly what she said. But yeah, she said, just do it. And I was kind of, actually, yeah, screw it, I will. So this building, this shed at the end of my garden was where we started. And we just, I quit my safe corporate job. I took some consultancy work on the side to pay the bills, and I set up the National Running Show, which ran in January 2018 in the UK for the first time. And it was small. We had I think we had 3 trainer brands there because everyone was like, this is never going to work. Mm-hmm. But I'd hired the NEC, which is like the big exhibition venue. And I'd hired this lady called Kelly Holmes, who you might not know, but she's a double Olympic gold medalist. Oh, and those are the first two big piece of expenditure that I made out of my own savings. Mm-hmm. And everyone got really excited, and they all sort of believed that this was going to work. And I was like, this might actually happen. And I remember the day of the first show, I woke up and it was snowing outside. And as an event organizer, that's death. That basically means 20% of your numbers are not coming. And we're done for. Like, I've taken this massive risk. I put my whole reputation on it, my whole career on it. And actually the worst bit was I loved running, and I'd made loads of friends through running by this point. And I was going to be embarrassed that no one was going to come. And I was in the exhibition before it opened, walking around talking to all the store holders. I just couldn't look people in the eye because I thought there was going to be no one there. And I was gutted. I could have cried, and I walked past my friend who'd helped us build the show, because a couple of my mates had helped me work on it to get it together, and they're all working for free. And they went, just go and have a look outside. And I walked to the front of the show, and there must have been 3,000 people in the queue before we'd even opened. And I was just like, holy crap, runners are freaking awesome. Like, I was literally like on cloud 9 for the rest of the show. And the show was god awful, because it was small, and it was nowhere near what I'd wanted it to be, but it was the first start, right?
Absolutely.
And actually proved to the brands, and I proved to all of the people that wanted to talk to runners, was that actually runners will come to a show like this. And once I'd done that, sort of, now that show, 27,500 people go to it in the UK. We have like 300 exhibitors. Oh, wow. It's mega. And as a business, we now employ 40 people. We've got like an office. We have 7 shows in the UK, 3 in the US. We're just about to buy another event business in the US, which will be another 7 shows. And yeah, we've just, it's turned into almost like a proper company, which, if you take into the fact that we ran our first show in 2018, which is not that long ago, and we had COVID in between, which was a pretty tough time for events people. Right. I pinch myself every day because my hobby is my job, and it's just all down to the fact that runners are awesome, and they will show up if they say they will.
A little snow is not going to stop us runners. I don't think so.
No.
We're a pretty resilient bunch.
Did you see the Boston Run show last year when it was like minus 20? It was like the river froze. Yeah. You guys still showed up. And it was like, yeah, runners are wicked.
Mike, that story, I had all the feels in that story. Like, I've always wanted to ask people about how they start a company, and when you're like, you quit your job, and how do you do that? And how do you just trust the process? And I think the only way it really truly happens is passion.
Yeah.
If you're passionate about it, it's going to happen. And I had those feels for you right then when you're like, you couldn't look the guys in the eyes, and you're like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed. I was like, wow.
So happy it worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole premise of the run show is amazing because it is so inclusive for everyone. Like, no matter what starting point you're at, it's just, you want anybody who has or wants that passion for running to feel included and to have fun.
Well, so we wrote down a couple of things that we wanted it to be. It was like, if you take a step out the door, you're a runner. So it's not about distance, and it's no matter how far or how fast you go is the other one. So those are our kind of 2 guiding premises, if you like. It was really important to me that it became a community meeting point, and that the community was running. It wasn't ultra running or club running or fast 5Ks or whatever it was. It is actually just a home where anybody who liked running or loved running could come together and learn more about it and maybe get better, or maybe just chat about it and, make it more fun.
I don't know. You get like extra attention from Matt. Like he looks at you during class and you feel like totally engaged. It was
You're so close
else.
to him too.
I know.
Like I couldn't believe how close we were to the stage and Matt and the bike. I was like, look how close we are before he even came out there.
It was so fun.
But we're getting way too far ahead right now. We're getting way too far ahead. So let's go back. Let's go Wayne's World here. Let's go. Let's go back in time. Let's go back to Friday, the 12th of January, and around 10:30 in the morning. Tara, you picked me up.
I did. So grabbed Eric. We made sure that he brought his running shoes and his wallet.
I had to be the mom for a second. He goes, "Don't let me forget my shoes."
Yes.
And he's like, "We're on our way." And I'm like, "Don't forget your shoes."
And the train tickets.
We'll get to that disaster.
Yeah, and then we drove down to Nashua, scooped up Erica, and we hit the road.
Road trip.
Yeah, and then we drove down to New Haven, Connecticut, and we hopped on the train, and then maybe we should go into the train story.
I'm going to let Eric explain this because to say it was a shit show was kind of an understatement. But let me just preface this by saying Tara and I had a wonderful trip. Eric, not so much. So go ahead, buddy.
The moment Tara picked me up, Pterodactyl, the moment you picked me up, I was just like, whew, because I can relax. I packed. I got the kids all to school and everything. I've yet to eat. And we drive to New Haven. We had a wonderful car ride. And when we get there, I'm trying to play with the Amtrak app. I have yet to sign up, but I took care of all the logistics, the Amtrak train tickets and the hotel accommodations.
Thank you.
So I already had the Marriott stuff on my phone, but I'm trying to get the train ticket on my phone. And Tara goes, "Oh, just go grab some paper ones. Not a big deal." I'm like, "Yeah, that's wicked smart. Wicked smart of you, Tara. Let's do that, Tara, Pterodactyl."
Jesus.
This is going to be awful. I'm going to get it wrong all the time. So we get our train tickets and then we're like, we need to eat. I haven't eaten. So we go to Subway. We all got a sub and they package it up. And then you guys are like, we got to go. They're boarding our train. So we run to the train and Erica, tell them about how difficult it was to find seats on this train.
Oh man, we're walking. We just picked the first car that we could, and everyone has one seat here, one seat there, one seat. So there was no way we were.
The seats are 2 by 2 with an aisle in between. So you'll be, one of us would be sitting by ourselves, but in all these seats, one seat was taken in the 2 by 2s.
And then we were like, all right, just sit. It's okay if we're not totally next to each other. So Tara's sitting in one seat, I'm sitting in the one in front of her, and Eric's 2 rows ahead of us. And of course, we picked the quiet car. What is wrong with us? Okay.
So Tara's like, as I'm coming, she goes, "Eric, take this seat." So I go to that seat, and this woman there, you guys know when you go on an airplane and I guess on a train, you're like, well, at least on an airplane, reserved seating, you're like, I hope I have someone cool, someone who doesn't smell, someone who's not a disaster. And this woman looks at me and kind of throws an elbow and kind of purposely knocks her bag into the seat by saying, "No way, motherfucker, you're not sitting here."
She gave you the Heisman.
Yeah, she gave me the Heisman. You're right.
Oh.
So I go another row forward and I look at this girl and she's in a seat and I go, "Can I sit here with you?" And she's like, takes her Beats. What do they call those Beats? The Dr. Dre Beats. Takes them off. She goes, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And I'm like, I look at her and I go, in my mind, I'm like, you are the perfect seatmate I think I've ever seen in my life. You just got your shit together. You're organized. You're just like, yeah, absolutely. I sit down there, and then the next thing I hear Tara and Erica go, "Where are the tickets?"
And of course, he's checking his sweatshirt pocket, checking his other pockets. He pulls out his backpack, can't find him. He's checking his bag that he has his sub in. And so you need to tell this story, man.
So
why are you making me do it?
The tickets were in the pocket on my hoodie, and I think I accidentally put them somewhere on the shelving above me when I tried to sit in the first seat, and the woman gave me the Heisman, and I can't find them. And so as I'm looking, I'm like, oh, maybe I put them in the bag with the sandwich. So I take the sub out that was poorly wrapped and just imagine it unrolling, just rolling 5 times through the wrapper and then just all over the floor, all over my lap, all over my backpack, sweet onion chicken teriyaki,
My backpack is all sticky. My hands are all sticky. I'm a mess. This is a disaster.
We get the best set of like Facebook messages. Me and Tara are reading them, like, and we just imagine the anguish that's going on. He's like, "Oh my God," all capital letters. "You're not going to believe what happened. I'm a total mess right now."
This girl next to me must be like, I got that guy. I got the guy you never want to sit next to. I can't believe it. And so I'm trying to pick up parts of the sub. I'm throwing it in my bag, and I had chips in the bag, and all that sweet onion sauce got on the chip bag, so that's ruined. It's just ruined. It's all trash.
Hot mess express here.
I salvaged what I could of the sub, and I ate the rest of it, and I'm just like, you know, I got kids. I'm married. This girl doesn't care. You know,
forget it. Forget about it.
I'm just like, oh, what's up, Siri? Okay, in 1.9 miles, we're turning. I salvaged what I could of the sandwich. I ate a little more, and I'm just like, this girl's got to be looking at me and saying I'm a mess. She's working on the computer and typing, and I can tell she's doing emails, and it looks like another chat. And I'm just like, I bet if I got a glimpse of that chat, it would be, oh my God, the guy who just sat next to me is a disaster, and I got to get out of here.
We were thoroughly enjoying all of this while it was happening a few rows ahead.
Then I'm like, I need to find a bathroom. Where's the bathroom? And Tara's like, the sign right in front of you that says bathroom. Maybe that's where it is. So I get all my trash, the food, and I walk forward and I walk to that sign, and then the sign goes, other side of car.
In her defense, that part was in very small print and we couldn't read it from where we were sitting. Well, he dinged me on it too because I couldn't. He's like, what, Erica can't read? And I was like, I can read just fine. I just can't see.
Right. Same here. I was like, I knew clearly that it said restroom, but I was like, I could not read the fine print.
Yep.
So I go to the bathroom, I take my trash, and I stuff it into the tiny little bathroom trash. I'm like, I can't come back out here with this bag. I gotta clean it up. I gotta fix this. I gotta salvage what I can. Wash my hands. I get all the sweet onion sauce off of me. I walk back to the seat. I sit down. I pull up my laptop, and I'm like, I'm going to look like a professional. I'm going to edit a podcast episode, the one you guys just listened to on Tuesday of Mike Seaman. This girl starts to pack her stuff, and I'm like, oh, God, she's moving. She's moving. I'm that much of a disaster. She is moving. She packs up her stuff. She puts it in her bag. She puts the bag under the seat. She looks at me, takes her beats off, and she goes, hi, waves her hand like, okay, I'm going to have to get out for her. And she says to me, would you like anything from the snack car?
I was shocked when you said that. I was like, I wouldn't offer to buy you shit.
Plot twist. Plot twist. Yeah. She's offering me snacks.
I'm like, did she not just see what happened to me when I had food? Like, do not give me food right now. I'm a disaster. I thought maybe she's like, just like trying to be nice or something. She goes and gets food. She comes back, and then she decides to start up a conversation with me. And as we start talking, she's from Boston. I'm from New Hampshire. You know, she's like, I ran the Boston Marathon. The woman in front of the seat goes like this to us, Erica. She gets up on her knees, turns around over, and she goes, this is the quiet car.
If you know us at all, especially with the volume that Eric's voice carries, we do not belong in a quiet car, not at all.
The best part was when this woman said it and she turned back around, this girl, her name was Meg. She looks at me and gave me a little eye roll, like I rolled towards that woman. And I was like, I think she's so cool. She was so cool. She was not like phased at all by the disaster that I was.
Yeah, Meg, thanks for putting up with my co-host. He is often a hot mess, so you just got to experience it firsthand.
Meg is a 2-time runner of the Boston Marathon, by the way, and I think
good for you, girl.
She did take our sticker and stuff, and she followed the podcast, so maybe she's listening. So thank you, Meg. But I think, Erica, you need to comment on Meg's attire.
Oh, girl. Your coat was, oh my gosh. It was a little bold for me. My tastes are very, well, let me say I have very like purpley taste, but that green, it was very bold.
She had this Boston Celtics green. It didn't have Celtics on. It's just.
It did look warm though.
Think of Boston Celtics green, this huge, what do you call it? Fake fur or what was it?
It was like, it looked Sherpa, like the Sherpa fur kind of stuff, but it looked so warm. Just, I don't know if I could pull off that color. When it was, I could not pull off
when
that
it was
color.
When we were in the train, I just thought it was a blanket and she was using it as a blanket. And then when we're getting off and she throws it on like and puts her arms through the armhole, I'm like, that's a coat.
There you go.
But yeah, that was our train ride. We got to New York and we figured it out. We walked to the to our hotel, and the funny part was we walked by a building that said Peloton on it.
We got so excited, and Eric put something in the stories for On the Runs. And we get some messages saying like, you guys do know that's the corporate office. Like that is not the studio. Yeah. And we're like, actually, we had no fucking idea.
Newbie alert! Newbie alert!
Again, tell us we're first timers without telling us you're first timers.
We got at least 3 or 4 messages like that. Hannah was one of them. Josh.
Yep.
We had someone else who's been there before, and that was funny. We're like, I remember texting Josh the address. Is this the correct address? He goes, that's the one. The nice part was we did do a little recon because this was in the afternoon. We did a little recon. We took a trip down to Peloton Studios, which was about a 2-minute walk from our hotel.
You did great with the selection of the hotel. Let me give you lots of credit for that. It was super close. I mean, we even tried to stall. We're like, we really shouldn't get there this early. So we had to kind of be like, all right, what can we do to add some time? Because it's like literally a 2-minute walk.
So we made that 2-minute walk down yesterday, Friday, and we opened the door and we asked, what's the deal? Are we allowed to come in, or do you need to be signed up for a class today to come in? We took a picture. I took a video, Erica. You want to tell them about the video I took?
I don't remember the video.
Becs Gentry.
Oh, God. Okay. Eric just loves to embarrass me, and he will send Bex random videos. So pulls his phone out and, hey, Bex, like the usual video. And I'm like, oh, my God. He's like, how I love to embarrass Eric. I'm like, it works every time, like a charm.
What's up, Bex? Just one of my famous little videos to embarrass Erica.
It works every time.
Check it out. Tomorrow morning with Maddie, but wish we could meet you another time.
Nice to see you. So, another one.
Bex, I love that you reply to me every time. And she was like, I wish I was there this weekend. Have a blast. When we'll see you when you come. Come back for me next time. Oh, it was so great. Bex,
that's the plan.
Bex, you're the best. And we walked around. So they told us to go to the retail store. You'd walk around this building. So we walked around and we saw another sign that said Peloton. And Tara's like, there it is. And then she walks in and we followed suit. Tara, where did we actually walk into?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we walked into the back of Peloton and a very nice security guard told us that we couldn't be there. So again, tell me you're a newbie without telling me you're a newbie.
Great. Yeah, so the Lucky Dog's still around. Love that spot.
Hold on. I got to ask a question before we move on. But so you said you graduated high school in 2010, Plymouth Regional, right? Mm-hmm. Did you ever have a teacher, specifically like a gym/health teacher, Ashley Fleming?
She's my field hockey coach.
That's one of our best friends.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she's awesome. She and I still we'll go back and forth on Facebook posts every thing, like every now.
I'm gonna make sure she listens to this one. Hey Ash, what's up? That's so fun.
She's awesome.
She's still there. She's still coaching. She's still teaching. She's still loving it up there. So we'll tell her you say hi.
Yeah, please do. Funny story with her. They had me try. I played field hockey in Boston, and then and at Plymouth, and they had me try goalie one game. It was like the worst decision. Oh, no. I'd never played goalie before in my life, but it's a solid memory of Plymouth field hockey. It's the one game I tried to play goalie.
Oh man, what a small world though. That's really cool. Like so many little connections here and there.
Yeah. No, she's. I think doesn't she have kids now too?
Oh yep, she's got 2. Yep, she's got Genevieve. I don't know if she's got G, who is like, oh gosh, she 8 years old, almost 9, and then her younger daughter is like, oh God, 5. Oh my God,
cool kids too.
I don't even know, but they're getting older and they're adorable and super smart, and yeah, she's a great mom, great teacher, great coach, all the above.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Fun connections.
Look who just joined us on the pod, Ashley Fleming.
Hi.
Coach is on to tell us all about field hockey.
I mean, the fact that you also said Ashley Fleming goes to tell you how long ago it was that I had Abby as a player, but that's okay.
I was telling them about, do you remember that game that you guys tried to put me as goalie?
Oh my God. I was just thinking about that when I got the message. I was like, oh, Abby.
I was like, that was a count for whatever, but it was definitely not.
You were great. waddling like a penguin with the gear on, but it was awesome.
So funny. How are you?
Ashley, we're just talking about, life, and Abby tells us she moved to Plymouth, New Hampshire, and met some friends of ours who hooked us up. Like, you play field hockey?
That's so weird.
Do you happen to know? Yeah.
I love it.
I didn't know this person. I mean, gosh, Abby, what year was it that you graduated?
2010.
That was just like the other day. It always seems like it was just last year, and then I'm like, no, that's 13 years ago. Abby was actually one of the first waves that had gone through, because my first year of coaching was the fall of 2008. And so, just like how Abby was, I kind of clung to her because I was still new and I was still fresh. And actually, Abby's parents I had known too, especially Abby's mom, because her mom worked with my mother-in-law at the school in town. And so, and your mom, by the way, Abby, is the sweetest. I see her every summer at our in-service days, and she always says how much fun you had with field hockey. And I was always like, oh my God, it's my girl running around all the time now. Make me so proud. But it was funny because I like to think that anytime a field hockey player goes to I'm not going to say the dark side, especially on a running podcast, but when they always switch over to cross country, because cross country always had shorter practices and, a meet once a week. And so whenever a field hockey player goes to cross country team instead, I'm just like, I was training them the whole time. It's fine. I was just getting them ready for it.
You did so good, Ash. Proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
To be fair, I never went to cross country in high school, so I enjoy field hockey.
Yeah.
So Ashley, as you said, 2010 was just yesterday. Have you been keeping tabs on Abby for the last 13 years?
So, I mean, yeah. So eventually, once the kids graduate, we can eventually become friends with them on social media. And so Abby, it's so funny because now the groups that Abby has graduated with, they're all grown up now and married and have kids. And that's where I don't know if you can tell with the lighting here, how gray I've become. No, but it's just one of those things where you see them grow up and do all these incredible things. And Abby's one of those cases where she just she developed herself, she's grown into herself, and she's just discovered what she's really good at. And it's her strength, and not only physically, but as an individual and her emotional status. And I'm so proud of you, Abby, because you've been killing it. And it's just awesome to see and all that you accomplished. Every time you're I'm just going to do this Iron Woman something race thing. And I'm just oh my God. That is incredible that you just even want to do that. And so, Erica and I and Newt talk all the time. The fact that you guys want to do that voluntarily without chasing a ball or, going for food or going for a drink at the end, which I know there's those races as well. But I'm I lose the motivation after a while.
Thank you.
We're just going to strap a carrot to your head, Ashley, or a ding dong or something. That's your motivation.
One of those oatmeal cream pies or something.
Are you?
What a small world.
You're still at Plymouth Regional, Ashley?
I'm still there,
I
Abby.
love
This is
that.
let's say, I think this is my 16th season that I just finished, and I'm still teaching there too. So.
And didn't you help out with basketball too? Or no?
Yeah, so I did help out with the girls'
thought.
basketball team too, probably when you were still playing too. Yep, I did that for a little bit.
A lot of time
we started a unified basketball team, so I started helping out with that. And some softball, but I now with two young girls, I just stick to the one season, which is field hockey.
How old are your girls now?
8.5 and 4.5.
So close. Ash, it was she's 9 and 5. I rounded up.
Yeah, I mean, basically the teenage years, based off of how they've been acting lately. Sweet. I've already threatened to cancel Christmas 5 times already, and it's not even the 5th of December.
Are you doing the elf on a shelf thing?
So Genevieve has really pushed for, my oldest one has really pushed for the elf on a shelf. But I think I threatened her enough with don't tell them. But if you just go on YouTube, there's a Santa's voicemail. And so I'll just kind of be I'm putting Santa on speaker. And I'm gonna pretend to dial it, and I kick it on. And Anna's in the background, the youngest, and she's don't call Santa, don't tell. So I think the threat of just calling Santa directly and leaving a voicemail on the North Pole is enough. That and just God's always watching. You don't need no help. God's always watching all year round.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you're killing it as a mom, and that just proves it. You're You're an incredible mom.
Yes. If you need any further parenting tips, follow me on my.
Your kids are so smart, though. It's crazy how smart they are.
It's too smart.
You do a good
Sometimes,
job, Flem. You do a good job.
Well, like I said, with like Abby's, a strong, independent woman. It's like all these skills that like my girls are showing. This like negotiation skills and the strong will and independence. Like, great. Not want to try to get out of the house and you're a 4-year-old. Like that's not when I need to see this. So
funny.
They had to learn it from somewhere.
Your father.
Oh, Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome. Thanks for jumping on real quick to see Abby. It was hilarious.
Yeah,
When
great.
we mentioned you, I got to my phone right away. I'm texting you and I'm like, hey, Erica, carry the podcast for a while. And she's like, carry the podcast? What? What are you doing?
We were just kind of shooting the shit, and I was like, oh, I have to like look at notes now because where were we? We're all over.
Yeah, let me go back to where we were. No, so Abby, what's the next thing you're going to do? I want to know.
I have a 100-miler scheduled for February. So we'll see how that goes.
One day, a couple days, like the whole month? Like, what do you... That would take me...
Yeah, I'm hoping to get under 20 hours. So,
Under 20 hours?
We'll see.
Holy
We
shit.
haven't
I
even
don't
gotten
know.
to this yet.
We'll get back to that, but yeah.
I don't know. I can never run 100 miles, so we'll see. But
no big deal. I mean, just under 100 hours. It's fine. I could do that, like, in my car, maybe. I don't even know.
I love you so much.
I love you, Ashley.
No, but I'm in awe because, like, I love it. I do. I just, the fact that you have the motivation, you have the desire to do it. Good for you. Good for you.
It's all resiliency and endurance I learned from high school field hockey and basketball.
I
This is
love that.
warming my
I'm
heart
gonna have to
so
say,
much. It's a
I
reunion
think I need to.
show.
I was gonna say I need to, like, Abby. I'll send Mom like a field hockey shirt rep for you. I'll have to like pass it along so the next time you're running, you can do a little shout out.
Yes, please.
Yeah, be like the
And
Bobcat
I'll
training
send a
session.
selfie to all of you. You can post it on the
Yes.
Instagrams. This happen.
Yes, please do. You know what? How about this? I'll make a deal. Why don't you just come back and do the conditioning week for my field hockey team, like the week before preseason? Be like, all right, so today we're gonna do 100 miles under 2.
Actually, if you want me to come back next fall and help with a conditioning week, I'm down. I will.
Yes, please.
So
yes, please.
hold on one second.
You can stay with Mom and Dad.
I got a question for you, Ashley, because you said you started in 08. Abby, you moved to Plymouth in 2010, right?
No, like 2008. So it would have been.
So you were both new. So Abby moved to Plymouth when she was a junior in high school. And I was going to ask you, Ashley, if you remember what that was like, because you have the new kid moving to a high school and that's hard and everything. But you were the new kid too, the new coach. So maybe that was easier.
It was kind of easier. I mean, I'll be honest. I love those girls. My seniors and juniors, my first couple of years, they're great kids and they've become great adults. But it is hard when you're fresh and you're a new coach because they're so used to what was and the new ways. And so here I was. My first year of teaching and coaching was Serago mode. Like that was just get me through. Let's see if I can even do this. And then, it wasn't until like Abby's year, you started to get a rhythm going. And then, but as I kept going, I just got better and better and kept learning. And I think with Abby's group, it was kind of, they've gone through like the wave, like anyone who had already been like at the varsity level had kind of already graduated out. And so I was kind of having this first group of my own players to work with. And I always have such great girls. I think I always have very smart and just respectful girls. And, it's always great when they work hard and can actually play the game too. So I think with Abby too, as she mentioned about the goalie thing, it was just like, Abby, go on defense. Okay. Abby, you want to play like a little forward? Okay. You want to go on goal? We need a goalie. Okay. I think I remember too, it was like the one time where I'm like, oh shoot, she went in. She wasn't supposed to, but she was in for like 2 seconds. Does it still count? I didn't even know. It was, still learning the rules.
I was just along for whatever. I was like, all right.
She's a real team player. She's a team player.
Remind me later. I'll try to find some like photographic evidence of Abby playing. Like I'll have to go. Like I feel so dated now, but I'm like, it's probably on a digital camera somewhere. Is this photo? Somewhere. Yeah, let me check a hard drive.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you got a month.
Check a yearbook at school, Ash.
Yeah, not on my phone. That's for darn sure. I'm like,
you had a flip phone back then, probably.
Yeah, For real. Like there were some photos of Eric and I just from just the other day of us like climbing it was like a snow day at Plymouth State, and it was I'm like that was on a digital camera. Maybe even a wind up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have until January 16th to find that photo. You got some time.
I will.
I'll too.
Go on that mission. I was gonna say, I'm sure there's maybe a tagged photo or something.
There you go.
Who
There
knows?
you go. Yeah, you'll find it in no time. You go into creeper mode. I like that mode on Instagram and Facebook.
Well,
creeper mode.
mode.
Erica
Why
knows.
not?
TLC.
Just you. You're the creeper. You're the creeper mode. Yeah.
Ashley, thanks for jumping on. I hope you and the kids have a great Christmas. I hope to see you soon.
Oh, thank you.
I'll be in the area a couple times.
You.
And
Love
yeah,
it.
and if you see the friendly police chief there in Campton, say hello.
Oh, I'll do. I mean, I hope I never really do run into them, but when I do, I hope it's always.
Well, you know who he is, right?
Pleasantries. Which one is that? Is that Foss?
Yeah, the Chief Foss.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, you got Big Doll, so I think Big Doll trumps chief of police at Campton there. Stady. We got Stady friends.
Peter, isn't he a police officer?
Yeah, Peter's a selectman in town too. So it's like we know all the people. We can't go anywhere in town. Between me as a teacher, my husband as a town official, and then my daughters go to daycare. Like Anna knows like a random parent, like in Hannaford. She's like, "Oh, that's so and so's mom." I'm like, yeah.
She's like Danielle, who just happens to know everywhere, no matter where she is. She could be in California. Yeah. One of our friends from college. She could be in California and be like, "Hey, I remember you from that one time at this party in Plymouth." That
they lived in that room on the cross from the place with the people in the thing, and I'm like,
yeah, sure.
I remember that.
Everywhere, but it's cool.
Yeah, Abby, are you coming home for the holiday?
I won't be home for the holiday. I work. I'm in a hospital, so I work most holidays.
See, that's the other thing. I mean, not only is she a freaking good runner, she's like saving lives, which
running miles and saving lives.
I'm just teaching the youth in the future of our society. That's okay.
But you'll be out there.
Yeah, she'll be out there doing your training for your team. Conditioning week, 100-miler. Let's go.
True.
Just try to make sure you don't make them hate field hockey. So as long as they can still tolerate it.
Running.
You know what? They'll like field hockey more right?
Than cross country.
Yeah.
There you go. Sold.
Well, if they can do the running part, it's just a matter of getting the sticks up. They'll outlast. It's just a matter of getting the sticks.
You know what I always thought was weird about field hockey? Everyone has to play righty.
So yes and no. There are only righty sticks, but you can play lefty.
But then the stick's upside down.
It is, but it's funny because there's actually a handful of high school players and a whole bunch of collegiate players that are now left-handed dominant, so they play with it upside down, and they freaking kill it. They can still. It's an advantage.
Well, I wish I knew that.
You gotta be able to figure it out.
I wish I knew that when I played field hockey, as in Spirit Week for high school. All the boys played field hockey, and I had 2 goals, and that wasn't too bad being a lefty, and I had to play righty.
Yeah, so long as you play with it, on the flat side, that's legal.
All right. I'll remember that next time I play field hockey.
Yeah, next time. Good times.
Ashley, thanks for jumping on the pod, and thanks for being and really quick, thank you for being a supporter of the pod for the past year and a half. We love you.
Oh yeah, listen, keep running on, and anytime I see any sort of running reference or somebody doing something silly related to running, I'm like, oh my god, I have to send it. So
I appreciate it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
You're the best, Ashley.
Bye guys. Abby, stay well.
See you.
See ya.
Again, I wasn't a drunk mom on the couch. Not that what I was any better than that. It was almost worse because I was someone who was just constantly getting by and denying it and trying to do better next time. And it wasn't every day. I mean, there's a lot of stigma still. There's a lot of myths associated, especially for women, because who wants to be a mom? Who's whether you're a mom or not, when you're a female and you're in any type of leadership role, whether you're a mom or, working a career, you're not going to say, I need help. Or back then, especially, I'm not handling this, and mine did really, the alcoholic drinking really started in my late 30s and early 40s. And I started, I couldn't remember things, but I would finesse it. I would, somehow I was running marathons. I ran 5 marathons active in my alcoholism, qualified. I mean, I ran 7 marathons, qualified for Boston 5 times. So again, hindsight, but I really was sick, but I wasn't even like, oh, I'm not going to listen to anybody. I don't have a problem. I was just like, I need to get this under control because sometimes I drink too much, but I'm obviously very healthy and I was doing really well. And we were in this big, huge capital campaign with the Y and everything was going very well. And then we had our surprise when I was 40 and Tom was 42. I got pregnant with our Charlie and it was a surprise and, very unusual because of our ages, especially. But I remember even where I was on my route that I still run today. And I remember thinking, well, this is going to be good because I'm going to stop drinking for a whole year for sure. Maybe even I breastfeed longer. So it will.
So in your head, you're drinking too much and you need to quit. You're just not going through what you don't have.
She didn't have like the rock bottom kind of thing that's going to be like, I need to do this now.
I didn't have the consequences, but I also didn't feel bad enough. I didn't, because I'll tell you, my rock bottom, and I don't want to go into too much of this because I don't want to bring people down, but I had 3 DUIs within 18 months. And this was after Charlie was born. But my rock bottom, guys, was I could not stand myself. And it wasn't like I hate myself or I'm so yucky or I wish I was better. It was, I can't stand this. I felt so scared and so empty. It wasn't depressed. It wasn't anger. It was fear and emptiness. So again, without bringing everybody down, that's where my bottom was. And I'm very grateful that I, at that point, agreed to, and everybody needs something different. I happened to go to a residential treatment center in Williamsburg, which I was fortunate enough to find. But even before that, again, everything, one day turns into the next. Everybody looks at, especially if you're looking back or you're talking about someone else's story, you're like, well, why didn't they do this? Or why didn't they do that? Or why didn't this happen when that happened? Well, it's because we're living one moment at a time. And so with me, I went to AA. I went to outpatient and graduated with a medallion and was even asked to help someone else because I was doing so well. But it was the pleaser in me that was doing well. And I wasn't, I hadn't stopped drinking. I had got it under control again. And I was like, okay, I'll do this. This is good. And I thought it was kind of fun actually. But I was clueless. I really was clueless. And the disease part was really taking over because I do believe that it is a disease with a choice component. And it also has hereditary components to it as well. And I have my family. So when I finally went to Williamsburg, April 17th, 2006, I don't know, there wasn't any magic that happened there, but it got me to a place where that's all I focused on for 33 days. And thank God that I haven't had any mind altering thing to eat or drink or anything since that day. And I'm pretty, I'm not a prohibitionist. My husband loves good beer. We have wine. Thank God that I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. But I'm real, like I wouldn't even cough syrup and stuff. I don't mess with it. I really respect the disease component. And if I ever have to have pain medication or whatever, I'll have to cross that road when I get there. But all my doctors and everybody knows, dentist, everybody, I'm very transparent about it, which is something that I'm now as a person in recovery, I'm still an imperfect, evolving mess, but I've got humility. I love being honest. I really get a kick out of it now. And I wasn't a big liar, but I just kind of, I was like figured stuff out. I thought outside the box, and the world rewards that to a degree, especially when you hide. You're good at hiding your fear and all that stuff. So anyway, but so when I got sober, I really wanted to continue to do something physical. So I didn't care about my running per se because I had to get really serious about it when I got home because those 3D, well, and again, you can cut most of this out, but when I got pregnant.
No, I love this. This is a great, you're on a roll. Keep going.
Thank you. Well, when I got pregnant with Charlie, I didn't drink. I stopped immediately. And I didn't drink until I was done breastfeeding her, stopped early for sure, joked about it. Just like if you're a normal mom, or I don't want to say normal or not normal, but if you're a non-alcoholic, non-addict mom and you say, I can't wait till I can, and some moms drink wine while they're breastfeeding, which is fine. But, you think it's kind of funny to say, I can't wait to stop breastfeeding this kid so I can have a glass of wine. But, it wasn't funny with me, but I kind of, nobody else knew that it wasn't.
Right.
And even at the time, I kind of didn't think it was because I was so sure that I had reset this whole situation, which is embarrassingly ignorant now. That's not how it works. I shouldn't say embarrassingly though, because I didn't know that at the time. And that's why I'm grateful for the fact that I believe that judgment and stigma is being broken. But it needs to be broken even more because there's so much misconception. And believe me, I mean, people who are unwilling to get help, it's heartbreaking because you can't do it for them. But if you're willing to get help and you still have a big mess in front of you, that's okay. You can heal. So but as soon as I stopped breastfeeding Charlie, as they say, in recovery circles, you don't start over. You get off at the floor. You get right back on the floor that you got off. And so I started, I slid down a very slippery slope very fast. And that's when that's where I experienced 3 DUIs within 18 months. And they were all, I wasn't a bar person. I was, I would just always find ways to drink more. Like if people were at a game or something, or if we were at I would always have to have more. And I didn't even see the lunacy of that, or I don't want to say lunacy. That's actually disrespectful. I didn't see the sickness of that. I just was like, well, I'll do this, or I'm hiding wine in my house, but that's because Tom's too worried about it. And, I'd buy a box of wine and put it downstairs and then refill a wine bottle that was in my refrigerator.
To make it look like you didn't drink.
Yeah. There were lots of creative.
Smart, but
very creative. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of stories there I won't share here, but
next one.
Huh?
The next one.
Yeah, well, and that's actually one of the reasons why I don't wish the disease of addiction on anyone, whether it's alcohol, opiates, any type of disease of addiction. But I love people in recovery, and I've been in recovery long enough to feel like I've got some chops here. They tend to be really fun, great people because they are creative and they are, kind of have gone to hell and back kind of people. So for the most part, if we're working a program, whatever that is, whether it's an AA program or any type of, I hated that term before because it annoyed the crap out of me. I don't want to work a program the rest of my life. If I have to stop drinking, okay, we can talk about that. But I'm not going to be saddled with some kind of a weird program my whole life. But now I know that it's not even a program. It's kind of my values and beliefs and ways of living now, which for me, the 12 steps did guide me to that. But I am a big believer in there's many, many paths to recovery, which I love. And especially nowadays, there's many more, they're much more available than they were even 17 years ago. But yeah, so I love the creativity. I love the humility. There's a lot of humor. I mean, you can imagine, there's a lot of stories that you don't want to make fun of or fantasize, we call them, but there's so much fucking, ridiculous stuff. And when you can live through the stuff and hear and laugh, I mean, it's healing too.
Do you remember? Okay, so we met you at Anchor Down, but you and I talked before Anchor Down. You've been following us and listening to us, I think, since around the time we had Maurice on the pod. Do you remember when you walked up to us so excited to meet us at Anchor Down in the state I was in at that moment?
That was really awesome. So I saw your tent because I was where my tent was. And I remember coming in and I look over and I saw your tent and I said, oh my God, they're like 2 away from me. I can't not go by because I had to go to Maurice and I had to walk by you to get to Maurice. So I just walked up and I saw you with your shades on and Erica was in her fabulous little outfit. And I was like, oh my God, you guys are so great. And then I introduced, and you were like, Kiki runs. And I'm like, yes. So that was a really cool moment to like be able to finally meet you guys in person and just kind of chat about life and why you were there and the experience of you running ADU and me being able to volunteer. It's such a blessing to like have that. It's so much fun every year.
Well, it was so awesome.
So the way I remember it was, I knew you were there. I knew we were going to meet, but I've never met you or seen you before in person. And it was a long day. I did the drive. I drove Erica so she can rest. I took care of everything. I set up and I sat down in one of those zero gravity chairs and I started to fall asleep. And you're right. I had those sunglasses on. And all of a sudden I see this girl running up, so excited, huge smile, waving. And I'm thinking, as I'm half asleep, I'm like, am I supposed to know who this is? Thinking I met you before, and you're like, oh my God, it's you. And you were like, oh my God, guys. And I'm like, oh my God, who are you? I was so excited, but I was half asleep and I was like, whoa.
Waking up.
Yeah. I'm super, super extra all the time. So I'm like, and I love people. I'm not going to ever like not act how excited I am when I am. And so, yeah, that was really cool to like see you and then see Erica being there and running it. So that was awesome.
Well, it was awesome having you there because just anybody who supports the whole Anchor Down community is awesome in my book. The one year, I swear one of these years I won't run it and I will volunteer, but I'm just so like into it right now. But I really appreciate you guys for volunteering your time and cheering on the runners, and it just makes the community so much better. It's just such a nice little family, you know?
It really is. Actually, it's when I volunteered the first time, I had so much respect for people to like put a training schedule together and follow it and still live life, right?
Yeah.
And that first experience of watching people push their bodies to that point and knowing that it's not all flat, it's half trail, half pavement, you know, it's over a 3-mile loop, and like watching everyone do that for 24 hours, 12 hours at a time, like straight. It was just so much respect. And I met so many awesome people, and the support of all of our volunteers there. It's like effortless for us to just give it to you guys. So it's, it really is something I look forward to every year because we're always the ones running, and then for us to give back. And it's just such a great day to be there. So.
Well, it wouldn't go on without the volunteers. So we owe you one. We really do.
Those canned potatoes and watermelon slices will keep you guys going forever. So as long as we have buckets of those, we're good.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
You were there in many different capacities. You were volunteering, but you were also supporting a ton of people. Why don't we go in, before we dive into you and who you are, tell us like everything you were doing at Anchor Down this year, because you were all over the place. Like you were like the ultimate volunteer / crew support.
So I did a 24-hour volunteer this year. So I was there the whole time.
You are amazing.
Which was super fun. My friend Lynn ran and she won the 12-hour.
That's right.
Yeah. Public enemy number 1 to Erica.
Oh,
yes.
She's goals. She is goals. That's what it is.
She trained hard. She ran hard. She did great. All of you just did amazing. But I went there because I wanted to see everybody start. I wanted to see it through the night, so to speak. So like I had the first shift and then I slept for a couple of hours, which really didn't feel like anything because you can't really sleep. And then I kind of got up and walked around and saw you guys at like 3 a.m. I remember talking to you guys again, and then tried to sleep a little bit again, and then came back, and then I stayed till about 5. So I was there the whole entire time, just running around. We have to keep filling up the food, and then I went with Jay's wife, and her and I were doing a bunch of stuff for the runners. So we kind of get a monogamous title. We're not just passing out orange slices. Like there's we have to make sure there's a first aid area, and then we have to check bathrooms. Like there's just so much that we do. But it's just awesome to do it for you guys. You know, it's
we
just
love
a lot
it
of fun.
and appreciate it more than you know, honestly. You guys are amazing.
How many hours did you sleep after when you got home?
Oof. So, you know, when you're up that long, you're exhausted. So you really don't fall asleep right away. I felt kind of numb almost when I got home, but I slept a solid like 8 hours after that. Like solid. And that's good for me. I'm normally a 6-hour sleeper.
Yeah.
If I'm lucky without a good 7 maybe.
And you dropped the name Jay, the race director. You were helping out with his wife or something. But I just want to say this now with the opportunity. Maybe he's listening.
Yeah.
I got one of the nicest emails from Jay months ago, about maybe a month after Anchor Down, and he listened to a pod. And it was a really nice email and basically said, good job. Yeah, I really liked everything. And Jay, that was an awesome. I loved getting that email. He's not the only one. I get them from time to time. That was really nice. I loved it. He's a good guy. He's got a good head of hair, just like me. I like the guy.
People, him and Kara both, they're just the most selfless people. They really are. And they're a blessing to be with. They truly are. I'm just really glad that we get to hang out all day. Their little boy is always there. Like it's a family thing, really. We're all family. That's what I think about when we're there. Because we just give so much selfless time to other people, and we don't even know your name. We don't know who you are. We have no idea.
How did you learn about Anchor Down? Like, what was your introduction to ADU?
Sure. So the year before, I had a couple of friends that ran it. So I was a spectator. Like we went for the first 6-hour heat. And by the midnight mark, I was like, I'm doing this next year. I want to be part of this. And I signed up and volunteered the following year.
Good for you.
It was that I got hooked in 6 hours. I'm like, I want to be those people under that tent. I want to help these runners. And that's all it took.
Yep. Race day is electric. Let me tell you. You get sucked in.
I actually walked the course this time for the first time because I hadn't seen the trail. And I'm walking on it and I'm going, I would kill myself. There's no way. I would be on the ground.
It happens. I am living proof that you do fall down, but as long as you get back up, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
The volunteer crew there is amazing. We've talked about them before, but Zach and Ainsley, amazing. Love those two. There's so many others, but those are the two names I always remember. Zach forever. Zach forever.
Juicebox guy.
Yeah, Zach forever will be Juicebox guy forever. That's his name, Juicebox guy.
Totally my hero. That first year I did it, he saved my life with the juice box. I swear. Just that little bit of sugar, and even put it in like an ice pack and made it cold for me. I was like, I just felt the love that day. It was really nice.
Right. It's funny. It hits funny when you're in that moment. Things that you normally wouldn't go to grab happen to be your go-tos. It's just wherever your body levels are and what you're craving and what you've depleted yourself of. So
like canned potatoes and watermelon.
Like who knew? Stick that in salt. It's delicious. Like,
I actually did that. Somebody told me, I'm like, I don't know what I want. And somebody suggested that. And I did the watermelon and salt. And I was like, here we go. And I was ready to run.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's good.
Do you remember? Okay, so we met you at Anchor Down, but you and I talked before Anchor Down. You've been following us and listening to us, I think, since around the time we had Maurice on the pod. Do you remember when you walked up to us so excited to meet us at Anchor Down in the state I was in at that moment?
That was really awesome. So I saw your tent because I was where my tent was. And I remember coming in and I look over and I saw your tent and I said, oh my God, they're like 2 away from me. I can't not go by because I had to go to Maurice and I had to walk by you to get to Maurice. So I just walked up and I saw you with your shades on, and Erica was in her fabulous little outfit. And I was like, oh my God, you guys are so great. And then I introduced, and you were like, Kiki runs. And I'm like, yes. So that was a really cool moment to like be able to finally meet you guys in person and just kind of chat about life and why you were there and the experience of you running ADU and me being able to volunteer. It's such a blessing to like have that. It's so much fun every year.
Well, it was so awesome.
So the way I remember it was, I knew you were there. I knew we were going to meet, but I'd never met you or seen you before in person. And it was a long day. I did the drive. I drove Erica so she can rest. I took care of everything. I set up and I sat down in one of those zero gravity chairs. and I started to fall asleep. And you're right, I had those sunglasses on, and all of a sudden I see this girl running up, so excited, huge smile, waving, and I'm thinking, as I'm half asleep, I'm like, am I supposed to know who this is? Thinking I met you before, and you're like, oh my God, it's you. And you were like, oh my God, guys. And I'm like, oh my God, who are you? I was so excited, but I was half asleep, and I was like, whoa.
Waking up.
Yeah. I'm super, super extra all the time. So I'm like, and I love people. I'm not going to ever like not act how excited I am when I am. And so, yeah, that was really cool to like see you and then see Erica being there and running it. So that was awesome.
Well, it was awesome having you there, because just anybody who supports the whole Anchor Down community is awesome in my book. The one year, I swear one of these years I won't run it and I will volunteer, but I'm just so like into it right now. But I really appreciate you guys for volunteering your time and cheering on the runners, and it just makes the community so much better. It's just such a nice little family, you know?
It really is. Actually, it's when I volunteered the first time, I had so much respect for people to like put a training schedule together and follow it and still live life, right?
Yeah.
And that first experience of watching people push their bodies to that point and knowing that it's not all flat, it's half trail, half pavement, you know, it's over a 3-mile loop, and like watching everyone do that for 24 hours, 12 hours at a time, like straight. It was just so much respect. And I met so many awesome people, and the support of all of our volunteers there. It's like effortless for us to just give it to you guys. So it's, it really is something I look forward to every year, because we're always the ones running, and then for us to give back. And it's just such a great day to be there. So.
Well, it wouldn't go on without the volunteers. So we owe you one. We really do.
Those canned potatoes and watermelon slices will keep you guys going forever. So as long as we have buckets of those, we're good.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
You were there in many different capacities. You were volunteering, but you were also supporting a ton of people. Why don't we go in, before we dive into you and who you are, tell us like everything you were doing at Anchor Down this year, because you were all over the place. Like you were like the ultimate volunteer / crew support.
So I did a 24-hour volunteer this year. So I was there the whole time.
You are amazing.
Which was super fun. My friend Lynn ran and she won the 12-hour.
That's right.
Yeah. Public enemy number one to Erica.
Oh,
yes.
She's goals. She is goals. That's what it is.
She trained hard. She ran hard. She did great. All of you just did amazing. But I went there because I wanted to see everybody start. I wanted to see it through the night, so to speak. So like I had the first shift and then I slept for a couple of hours, which really didn't feel like anything because you can't really sleep. And then I kind of got up and walked around and saw you guys at like 3 a.m. I remember talking to you guys again, and then tried to sleep a little bit again, and then came back, and then I stayed till about 5. So I was there the whole entire time, running around. We have to keep filling up the food, and then I went with Jay's wife, and her and I were doing a bunch of stuff for the runners. So we kind of get a monogamous title. We're not just passing out orange slices. Like we have to make sure there's a first aid area, and then we have to check bathrooms. Like there's just so much that we do. But it's just awesome to do it for you guys. You know, it's
we
just
love it and appreciate it more than you know, honestly. You guys are amazing.
Yeah. How many hours did you sleep after when you got home?
Oof. So, when you're up that long, you're exhausted. So you really don't fall asleep right away. I felt kind of numb almost when I got home, but I slept a solid like 8 hours after that. Like solid. And that's good for me. I'm normally a 6-hour sleeper. Yeah. If I'm lucky without a break. 7 maybe.
And you dropped the name Jay, the race director. You were helping out with his wife or something. But I just want to say this now with the opportunity. Maybe he's listening. Yeah. I got one of the nicest emails from Jay months ago, about maybe a month after Anchor Down, and he listened to a pod. And it was a really nice email and basically said, good job. Yeah, I really liked everything. And Jay, that was awesome. I loved getting that email. He's not the only one. I get them from time to time. That was really nice. I loved it. He's a good guy. He's got a good head of hair, just like me. I like the guy.
Him and Kara both they're just the most selfless people. They really are. And they're a blessing to be with. They truly are. I'm just really glad that we get to hang out all day. Their little boy is always there. Like, it's just, it's a family thing, really. We're all family. That's what I think about when we're there. Because we just give so much selfless time to other people, and we don't even know your name. We don't know who you are. We have no idea.
How did you learn about Anchor Down? Like, what was your introduction to ADU?
Sure. So the year before, I had a couple of friends that ran it. So I was a spectator. Like, we went for the first 6-hour heat. And by the midnight mark, I was like, I'm doing this next year. I want to be part of this. And I signed up and volunteered the following year.
Good for you.
It was that. I got hooked in 6 hours. I'm like, I want to be those people under that tent. I want to help these runners. And that's all it took.
Yep. Race day is electric. Let me tell you. You get sucked in.
I actually walked the course this time for the first time because I hadn't seen the trail. And I'm walking on it and I'm going, I would kill myself. There's no way. I would be on the ground.
It happens. I am living proof that you do fall down, but as long as you get back up, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
The volunteer crew there is amazing. We've talked about them before, but Zach and Ainsley, amazing. Love those two. There's so many others, but those are the two names I always remember. Zach forever. Zach forever.
Juicebox guy.
Yeah, Zach forever will be Juicebox guy forever. That's his name, Juicebox guy.
Totally my hero. That first year I did it, he saved my life with the juice box. I swear. Just that little bit of sugar, and even put it in like an ice pack and made it cold for me. I was like, I just felt the love that day. It was really nice.
Right. It's funny. It hits funny when you're in that moment. Things that you normally wouldn't go to grab happen to be your go-tos. It's just wherever your body levels are and what you're craving and what you've depleted yourself of. So,
like canned potatoes and watermelon.
Like, who knew? Stick that in salt. It's delicious. Like,
I actually did that. Somebody told me, I'm like, I don't know what I want. And somebody suggested that. And I did the watermelon and salt. And I was like, here we go. And I was ready to run.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's good.
I can't say I know a whole lot about NASCAR and the Daytona 500 and all those races. So I can't wait to kind of dig in and hear more about those. But I'm very curious, how did you guys wind up meeting? It was through NASCAR, like, to begin with, or who wants to give the
I'm going to let Ryan give the story. I want to hear Ryan's version of me.
Well, so one of my first memories of Newt
I had
is
hair.
honestly, not much.
No.
You and me, the no hair club, bud.
Yeah.
One of the first things I really remember is after a practice. So me and him met at it was the pit school that we went to. He came up out of the intro program, which was Pit Crew U. I had already been there for around a year and a half or so. And so one night after practice, we got into 5 off 5 on. He was pretty fresh into it. And after practice, we all went out to a pizza place down here called CC's. And one of the first things that I remember is we went there, and then there's this dude here who's asking, it's a pizza buffet, and he's asking to get special pizza with no cheese. And I'm just like, what? Who goes to a pizza buffet? And then come to find out he not a big fan of the cheese. So, and then you look over there, and not only is he eating this no cheese pizza at a pizza buffet, but he pops his retainer out. And, I have a history growing up of losing all kinds of retainers. So I'm like, maybe this is how I can connect to this guy. Oh, no, those are his teeth.
I am loving
I don't do that often. Something must have got stuck in there. There is definitely no girls around, so I would have taken it out and cleaned it. If there was a girl there, I would have been like, all right, I got to go to the bathroom and take care of this.
So at the risk of getting too far ahead of ourselves, I do want to share one of my favorite Eric Newton stories. And this one just sticks in my head over everything else. This is one of the most iconic Eric Newton stories. So we were going to New Jersey for a race one year. This is back when we were doing ARCA series. I believe you were on Rob's car still, and I was on the Craig Ghost car.
Okay.
I believe. But we all show up to leave because, we all had the common meeting place. We all jump into the van, and we all show up, and Eric shows up, and he's got a paddle. And we're all like, what? Nude, what are you doing with the paddle? And he's like, don't worry about it. Trust me. Just believe me. So, and this is just iconic. We're going up what was it? It's I-95 up to New Jersey. And all of a sudden, we're all sitting there and just kind of goofing off, playing on phones or PSPs or whatever we have. And all of a sudden, Newt goes, oh, I think it was Bordeaux. Bordeaux, speed up. Next thing I know, Eric is out the window with this paddle, rowing. And the reason is because we passed this girl who was pretty attractive in a car. He's paddling along, gets up beside her and starts waving at her. Sure enough, he gets her phone number and they start texting for the rest of the drive. So,
you want to know something funny? I'm still today Facebook friends with her.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yes, I am. I mean, we don't talk, but I see what's going on in her life from time to time. And that, yes, I love to have fun on the road. And I remember I had it was an orange paddle retractable, and I would hang out the passenger side of the van paddling. It was perfect.
I'm really glad you clarified, because I was like, okay, this could be one of two things, like an actual or it could be one of those like frat boy paddles and he's going to go whooping one of you guys. So that I was not expecting that whatsoever.
I am so happy you remembered that. He goes, I have a story in the email. I have a story. I can't wait to tell him, like, oh God, this could be embarrassing.
Well, it's even better because I don't know if the video, I'm sure it's around somewhere, but so New Jersey, I'm from Pennsylvania. So my parents actually went to that race, and back at the time, I'd see them every 6 months or so. And so we're leaving, and I was always the kid that every time I leave my parents, even 5, 6, 7 years later, I'm just like, so we're getting in the car afterwards, and I'm all emotional because I'd seen him for a few hours and we're leaving. And he's over here partying. They're playing Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA. And Eric's dancing around with this paddle, shaking around. I'm getting in the van. He's over here like fake smacking me. Yeah. But that's pretty much a crash course in our travel affairs.
That's also Eric in a nutshell.
Exactly.
I like to have fun, especially with the guys and hanging out on the road trips. Love to have fun. Like social media then wasn't what it is today. Mm-hmm. I still would probably be the same way if I was like 23 years old and just having fun with a paddle in a Wendy's parking lot, dancing to Miley Cyrus and getting girls' phone numbers because I'm being a goofball in the van, and they loved it. We would have signs like paper, and we would write hi and flip it. How are you? What are you doing today? Whatever. So anyways, we were respectful. I think we just wanted to entertain people and have a good time.
Most of us.
Yeah.
I was much more shy, reserved, hanging in the back, and we had a couple guys like Eric who were much more out front than me.
This isn't about Erica. She has her own podcast where she can talk about herself in the tros. All right, Letty. So you've done so many amazing marathons. You've traveled the world. And I've been following you for quite a while now because of the running podcast connection. And then I know I'm following everyone running the New York City Marathon. And then you made a post a couple days after walking out of a porta potty saying, yep, it was one of those days. And I go, hi, Letty, we're on the runs and we want to hear this story. So one of the things we always tell our guests is spare no details.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Our listeners are here for it. We can start. I'll tell you what, let's just start with Times Square and all those people in costumes jumping in photos, because we were in New York City 48 hours ago and they were jumping in our photos. We can go from that point throughout the whole weekend if you want.
I mean, that literally happened, right? Because you've got Super Mario Brothers photobombing us and then asking for money afterwards, where we were like, he ruined our photo.
Yes, it's so true. Pterodactyl was with us, and a guy takes a camera, shoves it right in her face, takes a picture, and goes, do you want this professional photo?
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. But no, now we all know it happens, right? It's New York. So after that square in Times Square, after that experience, we went for lunch. And so here's my two theories. Something went wrong with the food in New York for me personally. I had one oyster. We were 6 people sitting in a circle sharing food. And there were 6 oysters. Each one of us got one. I love oysters. All right. So I hope it wasn't the oyster, but nobody else got sick. I ate an oyster. Then after that, I, went about, met a couple more different people, and then met my other running group that I have on Facebook, the Speed Striders, which, by the way, you guys should join. It's a great running community, and everybody is always happy, positive. It's one of those groups that are not too big and really, really great. So we did a meetup, and we met some people from Sweden and all kinds of places there. And we were at an Italian restaurant, and since I'd already eaten something earlier, I decided I'm going to have a salad. And instead of having the regular anchovy-based Caesar salad dressing, they were like, do you want us to whip you something up? Something with a little bit of egg in it. And I'm like, ooh, personalized dressing. Sounds great. Also, romaine lettuce, right? So it could be 3 causes: the egg, the romaine lettuce, or the oyster. So fast forward, everything goes great that evening. I wake up in the middle of the night and my stomach is rumbling and I feel like I want to throw up. And you said spare no detail. That's what happened. I
feel for you. I really do.
So I threw up in the middle of the night, and then I threw up again. And then in the morning, I woke up with the alarm clock because I was going to meet a couple of groups for a shakeout run. So I go to the shakeout run and I kind of keep my distance because, one, I'm not feeling good. And it's a shakeout run that was hosted. I think it was hosted by Michelob. So they had like this big breakfast and everything planned. Yeah. So I went there, but I was like, okay, food doesn't sound good. I'm just going to go do a little bit of the shakeout run. I didn't last 2 miles until I had to, excuse myself and go on the side. And at that point, I just took the metro back. I went to a pharmacy and I I had a quick chat with the pharmacist there, and I said, something's going on. It's probably food poisoning. And so he gave me Imodium, which I'd never taken in my life. So I bought both the 2 tablets and the regular Imodium, and that's basically all I ate that day. Gatorade, Imodium, and just laying down and not feeling good. I continued to throw up. And so then in the evening, I had a roommate in New York when I was staying there. And she was all like, oh, I've done this before. I've been sick. And then the next day I had my best race. And I was like, Sarah, this is probably not going to happen to me. Like, this might be your prognosis, but this is not what's, going to happen to me. At this point, I talked to my brother, who's a physician. He was like, you got to really be careful. Maybe skip it because of the dehydration factor that's happening to you right now. And so he kind of scared me into submission where I was like, oh, I don't know if I'll run this thing. But then I woke up on Sunday in the morning and I felt okay. And, I wasn't throwing up anymore. So I just took some more Imodium and I decided, all right, so I'm eating some apple, what is it called? Apple sauce, stuff your kids eat. And then a banana. And I went for it. I went to, enjoy the marathon. And I was tired because you're kind of out of it, but
up all night.
Yeah, but I hadn't, a lot out of you, I hadn't thrown up in a while, so I figured, okay, this is going to be okay. And I'm not here to PR. I just done Chicago, and I've done great on that race. So New York was one to be enjoyed. So then,
a victory lap.
Yeah, victory lap, kind of. Yeah. So then the race started, and man, that first half of the marathon went great. I was on pace for 3:20, and everything felt great.
Wow.
Until it didn't.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it was, I think it was right around mile 12 or 13, I don't recall at this point, that I remember drinking Gatorade at every stop where they would offer it to you because I was, brother was in my head, you got to hydrate. And I drank it, and then the next thing I know, it came up. And I was like, whoa, I just threw up in the middle of the race course. This wasn't pretty. And I didn't feel good anymore. It was just like literally the 7:30 pace just stopped and it just, it went down. And at that point, I'm like, man, I'm like at mile 14 of this marathon. I hate it. I just want to get it over with. I just want to get this medal. And so I kept on running, but it was a much slower pace. And I kept on trying to drink the Gatorades, but it was literally like I would drink it and then I would run to the next block and I would go through the, lines of people, 10 people deep to go around the corner and it would just come back up. And so it was the worst feeling in the world. It was so bad.
That's awful. So you were sick the whole time. It wasn't like a one and done, a puke and rally. You were drinking the Gatorade. Were you doing anything else trying to like, I know some people might do pretzels or they might mix Gatorade and water and stuff. Or was this just like, I got a Gatorade? Could you not put any food down?
I couldn't put food down. And then here's the thing, and this is totally TMI, but Imodium, like I said, I'd never taken Imodium before. Yep. I know it stops diarrhea. And so I would go to the porta potties because I was like, my gosh, I really got to go to the bathroom. And I couldn't go to the bathroom because, newsflash, Imodium doesn't let you go. So I just felt crappy the whole time. And I kept throwing up, and I would see the medical tent people and they would kind of look over, and I would like try to dodge them. If anyone would walk towards me, I would start running again because I was like, I don't want anyone to pull me off this course.
Right.
Is this your first New York City, by the way?
Yeah, it was.
So you really want that medal because you're like, New York's New York. You might want to go every year like Boston, or you might be a one and done. I don't know. But yeah, you don't want them to pull you and be like, yo, no, you can't go anymore. You're like, look at you. You're white and you're just...
You got throw up on you.
Everywhere.
You're throwing up everywhere, yeah.
I swear I'm fine. It's just I like to do this. I like to throw up all my nutrition after I take it in.
I'm just really pushing that threshold, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was so bad. I counted bathrooms after mile 16 and I felt like they didn't have enough. And I don't remember ever in my life thinking about if there's enough bathrooms on a race. But I was like, wow, I don't know if I can hold it till the next bathroom. I guess I'm going to have to go behind some corner again in some bush. And then people will come because it's New York and they're friendly and they'll be like, are you okay? And I'll be like, I'm great. And then you just, do this over and over again. And then on top of that, my pace had gone down drastically to where I literally would look at my watch and it would say like, I don't know, like it would be like 20.1. And half an hour later, and I'm exaggerating, I would look at the watch again and it would be like 20.3. And I'm like, why is this taking so long? This is like the longest marathon of my life.
Oh, no.
Oh.
You even, I think you had a tracking issue too, or you weren't being tracked or people thought maybe you pulled out, right?
So I made myself invisible without wanting to. I know that the Berlin Marathon allows you to select that you don't want to be live so people can't live track you. And I didn't want to be live tracked. And I was kind of just playing around with that for no reason. I was just like, it's a one and done thing. I don't want to really, have my times out there so much, especially with the podcast. But then it took me completely off New York. So it didn't even look like I was participating. So I'm not going to mess with that stuff for next time. It was a little lesson I learned.
Yeah. So your first half was great and your second half kind of blew and you eventually got to the finish line, right?
I did. Yeah, I did go to the finish line and I crossed it. And like I told you, it just didn't come soon enough. The medical people saw me there and they noticed, there's probably throw up on my shirt. So I got into the medical tent. It's kind of dramatic, but I guess they have to wheelchair you in there.
Were they like, hey, you need to come into the medical tent? Or are you like, do you want to come in? And they're like, yeah, I should probably do that.
Yeah, they looked at me and they said, you should probably come in there with us. And I said, okay. So then I went in there with them and they were, trying to put alcohol wipes under my nose because they said it helps you with nausea. It didn't help. So they gave me Sofran. I think that's what it's called. And that thing was just magical. It was just, it wiped away the whole nausea thing that I was feeling the whole time. And then they kept measuring my temperature. My temperature had dropped to 91 Fahrenheit. So it was pretty low.
That's really low. That's wicked low.
Yeah. So then they put me into one of those bear claws where it's the most amazing thing. I wish I had one in life in general. So it's like a medical device where you have a blanket and the blanket blows hot air on you. And they had me in there for, I don't know, I think I spent like almost 2 hours in the medical tent. And they kept telling me, don't fall asleep, don't fall asleep. And all I wanted to do was just relax and sleep. But they asked questions too. They asked you, do you know your name? I knew my husband's phone number, so I was fine.
Was he there in the city?
No, he wasn't there, but they were, trying to test you if you're coherent at that point because I was so cold. And then they asked me, do you know where you are? And I totally must have misspoken. I was a little bit confused. I was like, yeah, at the Chicago Marathon. But I realized...
Oh, no.
I realized it right away. And so they were like, oh, she said everything else right. So it wasn't that big of a deal.
Erica is back. She missed the whole story.
I'm going to have to listen again.
But Erica, we're in the medical tent now at the finish line, and they go,
Yes.
Letty, where are you? And she goes, I'm at the Chicago Marathon. And they're like, no, you're in New York.
It was just a slip up. I had said everything else right, but my temperature was really low. So they were like, oh, we gotta make sure everything's okay. They were amazing. The funny thing is, when I first started the podcast, I interviewed this guy who is the medical chief director of New York. And he talked to me back then. I think it was about COVID and the effect of COVID on running and everything. And as bad as I was feeling with throw up all over myself, I saw him and I was like, Calvin. And it was just such a coincidence because there's 1,800 volunteers just to, run into him. That was really kind of cool.
He just happens to be in that one.
Yeah. So it was really cool.
And did he remembered who you were? And was he looking at you like, oh my God, Letty, what happened? Or
he was more blown away that we actually ended up meeting in his medical tent. With all these people being there, the volunteers plus all the runners that were in there. But I mean, that tent was an experience in itself. I highly recommend you guys going in there just to observe, because there is some screaming going on of people cramping and all that stuff. It's pretty gnarly.
That's scary.
Yeah. I was scared too. I was like, what is happening? Is he like get his shoulder out of the socket? And they're like, oh no, it's just people cramping. And I was like, oh, it's pretty bad.
I Sherpa for my buddy in Ironman's on occasion, and we were in Cozumel, Mexico, and I wasn't allowed in the medical tent, but they ended up taking to the hospital. And I'm in this hospital room looking and hearing something going in the room next to me, like, oh my God, I want to look, but I'm glad I can't see it. And then across from me, they're struggling to like intubate a guy. I'm like, I think he's dead.
Oh shit.
And then he didn't die. But it was just like, the doctors were overwhelmed because it was like 90 something degrees on this day in Cozumel when it should have been like low 80s. It was November. But yeah, I got to see the medical side there. It was wild. It was nuts. I could only imagine New York City. And Erica, what you missed was she was afraid of like medical tent seeing her when she's sick and pale and throw up all over her, being like, hey, you got to come, because she wanted to finish the race. Right.
Yeah, I wanted that medal, and it was honestly not the smartest decision, but luckily everything panned out okay. But it wasn't a pretty race. But then again, I never order race pictures anyway. Those would have been like the ones to skip.
Honestly, though, I would have done the same thing. I mean, sometimes us runners don't make the best decisions for our bodies. It's more about I've trained, I've come this far. How can I just give it up this easily? And yeah, definitely not the smartest thing, but it happens. And I would be on that train.
And running friends are the worst. I mean, I was telling Eric, the friend of mine I was rooming with, she was like, just go for it. When I was sick, I had the best race of my life. And I'm like, you idiot. Like, not her, me. Like,
did not happen. Uh-oh.
We're a bad influence.
That's gnarly.
But you love us for it.
Only like 500 per month, and
You blow them all and like a night.
Dan, you moved to Boston and you did a color run, but you're also a new runner like in the past year and a half. So from 2017 to 2022, there's some time there. What happened within those years? You said you got the bug, but what like got you really into it this past year and a half now?
So at my current company, I was just talking to the COO, and somehow they brought up like a paid forward committee and something, and I was like, oh, maybe I wanted to run the marathon, the Boston Marathon, and somehow that translated to, oh, Dan's going to run the marathon. I'm like, I'm going to run the marathon and
at this point, you've only done a color run.
I think I've done a few other small ones, like 5Ks after, but it's just been like a one-off. It wasn't like I'm going to keep doing this shit for.
So you just jumped right in. Like you skipped over the 10K, the half marathon.
Yeah.
And went, bam,
He even
marathon.
skipped your local marathon. He went right for the Worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I never, I've only done one 10K in my life, and that was this past year. And that was the BAA 10K. I've never done a 10K prior to that. And then I was like, I kind of have to figure this out because I already talked about it, so I'm going to have to do it.
What do you know about the Boston
but it's
Marathon? Do you even know it's on Patriots Day? Because as we spoke earlier, you're from New Jersey. You didn't grow up like watching the Boston Marathon every year like Erica and I knew about it being from New England and just outside of Boston.
So I got to know of it when I moved here. Like I knew what Patriots Day was, and I worked at the Norwood Airport, and we always would get the planes that flew in that would relay the information to the news center station. So whatever you would see on the TV, these planes would be flying at 5,000 feet with this huge antenna that beams the information over. So those motorcades that are riding, they're hitting the planes, and then the planes are shooting the information to the studio. So I knew what the marathon was because of that, because they would fly in a week or two prior and they would do their path, so they would know what the route would be. We would fuel the airplanes and helicopters up, see the military helicopters, and be like, oh, that's the Boston Marathon. So it was a big deal. And then, of course, the bombing. I was at the UMass Boston, so I knew about that. And I think from the bombing, I think it just said, I need to do this. This is like a bucket list item. But it only took 10 years, and I actually ran, the marathon on the 10th anniversary. So it's kind of like nice how that all kind of fell into place, and I ran it on the 10th anniversary. So
wow.
Yeah.
So you were there just last year. I wish we would have known.
So you tell your CEO, I want to run the Boston Marathon. And he kind of starts this, it's not even a rumor, but it's like Dan's going to do the marathon. You're learning the process. Okay, maybe I got to join a charity and raise money, or maybe I could run wicked fast and get a qualifying time. What was the process you went through to get in the marathon?
So I was just doing me, working out, going to Orange Theory, going to the gym. And then I was talking about the marathon at Orange Theory in Quincy. And the girl at the front desk was like, oh, there's a group that runs in Quincy every Monday night. And I think they might be a charity that runs the marathon. I'm like, okay. So she says the Boston Bulldogs. I'm like, sweet. So that day I went home and I just logged on, read what the Bulldogs were, and I immediately was touched by their message. I actually cried and got chills down my spine, and I felt gravitated that I actually belong there, and what they stand for, and sobriety, and showing up, self-leadership, being transparent with yourself, being there for those who have suffered indirectly or directly with alcohol and substance abuse. And I loved it all. It just the one thing that I truly felt in my heart that I belonged with them. So it took me a few weeks to muster up the energy to actually reach out and talk to some people and say, hey, how do I do this? And then I showed up on Monday, September 12th. There's just people smiling, hugs, high fives, whatever, no judgment-free zone. It's just a great time. And then we just started running. I started talking about, hey, I want to run the marathon. And they're like, you'd be perfect. Your energy is amazing. I would love to see you run, and you're definitely going to run it. And it was actually that same week they were giving out applications to run for them for the 2023 marathon. And I filled it out. And then 2 weeks later, on September 30th, I was driving down the Cape. Coach Mike calls and said, I got some great news for you. You're going to be one of 15 Bulldogs running the marathon. So I cried, chills down my spine.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit, I'm actually doing this. So I literally just talked about this months ago, and I just found my way of doing it.
That's amazing. Was this a fundraising bib, or did you just get to run it and just enjoy it?
It's a fundraiser bib, yeah. So every Bulldog has to fundraise $10,000.
That's not a lot.
But no, not at all. It's just another part-time job.
It really
We'll get into that. It is.
Oh, yeah.
But it's fun. You know what? You may think it's a lot, but if you do it right and, you're true about it, you're living that message, it's easy, actually. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah. And then October 2nd, 2022, I was like, fuck it. I'm choosing sobriety. This is it, because this is your new chapter, your new journey. This is your calling, is the running. And that's what's going to make the new Dan.
And
so here I am.
Something we talked about when Erica was MIA for an hour was just, Dan, you didn't have a drinking problem. You just realized, I feel great when I don't drink, and I want to always feel great, right?
It just wasn't serving you anymore. It
wasn't. I mean, I was going out. No, just going out, because like, what do you do when you go out? You drink. You go out on a date, you drink, and then you wake up and you feel like shit, and then you go and be like, I'm gonna go and drink again. It's like, no, it's just not. So I call it, you know, it was just an unhealthy relationship, because alcohol is just, to me, shit. So I'd rather wake up and go run 15 miles in 10-degree weather with a bunch of friends, have a good time and laugh my ass off, than be hungover for the next 2 days, because it's a toxin. So it just feels amazing. So I know I had to change.
So let's go to race day. Let's go to 2013 Boston Marathon. I don't know this story. I purposely did not research to see how your race went, because we know that's the year of the bombing, and there's a lot of stories that we've heard. And I like to hear these for the first time. So take us to race day. Spare no details. You can start wherever you want, but typically people start with like getting on the bus and getting ready and all those logistics and the nerves, and then the gun goes off and you start.
Yeah. So we were on a bus that was like an independently organized bus from some of the people in our running club and other running clubs or whatever that left out of Boxford. And it's funny because you could still run Bandit. Remember those days? So
that was
no more Bandit. So Michelle's husband and brother-in-law were going to run it Bandit, because why not do that? And actually our good friend Pete was also running it Bandit, and he was kind of going to be pacing us. So he was running it for fun and pacing us. And then we had Michelle's husband and brother-in-law that were also running it, but they were going to run with a different crew that were like, you know, not going to be going, not that we were going fast, but they had no like pace in mind or anything. And we were so nervous.
Wait a second. What is running Bandit? Because I just Googled it, and I don't know if it's right.
Without a bib, with like being not registered without a bib.
Yeah. So that is what Google says.
Yeah. Yes.
So you weren't Bandit, or were you Bandit?
No, I wasn't. I was official. I had a number. I had all the stuff. I was ready to go.
Thought so.
And they gave us a bag. So every runner had a yellow bag with their bib number on it that you could put stuff in and put it on a bus. And then the bus was going to take it to the finish line so you could get your stuff after and change or whatever. So we had our little bags. I remember all I could eat that morning was like half a plain bagel. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to eat. I don't know if it's going to mess up my stomach. Like, I was just so nervous. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. And we got to Runner's Village, and we were just like in awe with all the people. Now, we were in like the charity wave. So like it was later in the day. Mm-hmm. It was warmer than what we had anticipated. So we changed our outfits like 2 days before, because we had matching outfits, and we had put our names on our shirts so that people would yell our name. Somebody gave us that tip. So if you wrote Shaina or Michelle on your shirt, then people would be like, "Go Shaina." And it was just like an extra like energy boost, power up. We had matching everything. We had a little headbands we got at the expo. We put our little tattoos on that they gave us, whatever. And it was like it was like kind of overcast-ish. Like it was just a good running weather day. And I knew I was going to see family in like the Hopkinton area because my cousin lived in Holliston. Like I was trying to track like who I was going to see like throughout the course. We knew that we were going to have people at the finish line, and actually the girl that we did the fundraising for was going to be at the finish line. So we started running, and Pete was with us, and he kept us, very like on course. He was like taking pictures of us and like posting them to Facebook, like they're a mile this, like blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
We felt pretty good. We had to like stop a couple times, and I mean, we ran the whole time. The whole thing, like try not to walk. we did run the whole time, but we did stop at water stops and everything. where my friend Pete was like, being like, you know, going through the scream tunnel with all the girls, and like, you know, he's, you know, people are offering like beer, you know, and they're like, have a beer, and he's like, okay, cool, like, because he wasn't running it for like, he was just running it for fun, and we were just like chugging along. So we're about 3 miles away, and my phone starts ringing because I always carry my. So the other thing too is I always carry my phone on my arm. And I never use earbuds. I always play my music on my arm because I have a serious fear of like, you know, you hear so many things about like women being attacked from running and stuff. So like, especially with these noise canceling earphones, like that's so scary to me. So I always have my phone on me, like for whatever reason, if my kids need to reach me, whatever. So I had my phone on my arm. I was playing music. They call me the boombox.
I love it.
In case you want to know, I'm the boombox. Some people find it very annoying when you're running in a race. I've gotten yelled at by people before and be like, can you turn your music off? And like, just mind your own business and have your own. Bye. Go run. Go ahead. Pass me. Bye-bye. And my phone kept ringing, and it was my ex, and he was like, oh, and I'm looking at my phone and go, who calls somebody when they're running a marathon? Like, and I was like, decline, like, decline. So I'm like, and Michelle's like, what the hell? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not still running.
Was he your ex at the time?
No.
Oh, okay. The way you said it, I was thinking like, I'm declining my ex.
No.
Like,
yeah.
no.
Don't call me. No. No.
I'm a little busy
he's
right
not at the
now.
time.
I can't answer.
So he started calling again. And I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, and I look at Pete and I go, can you like call him and tell him to stop calling me? Like, I'm busy right now. Like, I can't talk on the phone. So when he called a third time, I picked up, and I'm like, what do you want? And he's like, there's a bomb at the finish line. And I was like, what? He's like, there's a bomb at the finish line. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then cell phone service like cut out. So I'm like, okay.
Shit.
So I look at Michelle's like, what's wrong? And I go, he said there was a bomb at the finish line. She's like, what? So I look at Pete and I'm like, I don't know. I just was like, not what you're expecting to hear when you're running a marathon. So I'm like,
no, that is not a common thing to say at a race. Not at all. Like, what the hell?
So we're still running. Nobody's stopping. We're like running. You know, we're like going by the sit go sign. Like we're getting closer to the finish line here. So Pete's like, I'm just going to ask the cop because, you know, there's cops all the way along, like the detail along the route. So he like goes up to one of the cops. He's like, hey, we heard there's something going on at the finish line. Like, is there any reason to be concerned? Like whatever. And he was like, no, because word hadn't even gotten to all of the cops.
How many minutes do you think has passed from the phone call to the cop?
I mean, we ran all the way until we were half a mile away.
So
before
you ran 2.5 miles from that phone call.
Yeah.
Unless you're running 4-minute miles, that's like 20 something minutes. That's.
I mean, no, I definitely wasn't. Nope. So, yeah. And there was no concern. And then all of a sudden, like, it literally was like a wall of people just like stopped. And we were like, what's going on? And then we heard people talking or whatever. And there was no cell service. People were freaking out. People were crying. You could hear ambulances. Like we had no idea like what was going on. So we couldn't call anybody. We were like, oh my God, we have to find her husband and brother-in-law because like they don't know anything. So we were like waiting for them to like catch up to us basically. So we eventually did find them. Then they like rerouted us through like, we walked probably another 5 miles like around the city. Like they just you couldn't go anywhere. Like you literally had to walk like around the perimeter of the city.
Right.
We finally found a bar because like my phone was dead. Michelle's was dying. We found a bar that they let us charge a phone there or whatever. We had no money on us. We literally were like, all of our stuff was in our bags for like after. Michelle's car keys were in her bag.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
there was just so many things going on. We were in complete denial. All we could do was watch on the TV at the bar, like what was happening. And I mean, I was like sick. Sick to my stomach. I didn't, there's so many things that go through your head. Had I been faster, had I been, had that it had happened where we were, like, there's just so many things, like, it was just a very traumatizing. I mean, I was unwell for like that entire week until they actually found him in the boat. Like I think I was like a zombie that whole week, because it was like it was the scariest thing I had ever been through in my whole life. I remember coming home that night. Backtrack a little bit. They dumped all of the bags, which I still don't understand how this was okay when like the whole thing was like a bomb in a backpack. So why they would have dumped all the bags for like anyone to go through was beyond me. But they basically just like emptied the buses of bags out into like a common area. And we scoured through the bags and we found Michelle's bag. I literally have no idea, like higher power shit. Like I don't know, like scoured through these bags and couldn't even believe it. We didn't find mine, but they were the volunteers or whoever were telling us that like any bags we could retrieve like a couple days later after they had like any bags that were uncollected, they were going to take all the bags and then we could come and get them.
Gotcha.
But we found her bag and we somehow were able to get back to a bus that was able to take us back to Boxford. Like it just like completely crazy. Like so crazy.
At what point were you able to use your phone again and get back in touch with your husband and now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Was everybody okay that was supposed to meet you at like the finish area?
Everybody was okay because they weren't actually at like, my ex wasn't at the finish line-ish yet because, they were doing what you do before the Boston Marathon or at the Boston Marathon. They're at the bars drinking. So, so they weren't actually there yet. They were, Michelle's friend that we did the fundraising for, like she was at a restaurant that was near there. I think she couldn't hear because the explosion, like it was like, yeah.
Oh.
Physically, they were okay. Mentally, she was not. But
that's, yeah. Understandable.
It's just one of those things. It's like, I'm like, what, of all the times, of all the marathons, like of all the instances, like it was just so, you just think about a lot of things. It makes you think about a lot of things.
And you weren't a runner during that time. Like I ran in high school to train for hockey. So that wasn't really your thing yet. Your fitness journey hadn't started, but you already had asthma.
Oh, yep. Already had asthma. So that happened about 2 months old. I was diagnosed really young. Typically, they don't diagnose with kids with asthma until they're about 8 years old. Reason being is other testing that's needed, spirometry, pulmonary function testing, stuff like that. But I was really severe as a kid. I was always in the hospital. I was tubed multiple times. My main triggers being allergies and exercise induced, of course. So any kind of running, walking, going up a flight of stairs, that kind of thing. Had a really tough childhood with it. Like I said, running wasn't really something I could consider until I got older. And actually my first time running was in college. I decided, hey, I'm going to go for a run. And figured I'd go for 1 kilometer short run. On my run in the middle of night, I came across a bear. There was a bear on my run.
That's a code round.
That's a code round, right? Yeah. My very first run was pitch black. I'm on this road in the middle of nowhere because I didn't want to run around people. I didn't know how to run. And I just, I mean, if you know what it's like getting into running, you don't want to run next to the highway when you have no idea what you're doing. So I'm in the middle of nowhere. This bear comes out, jumps in front of me on this road, and I freaking terrified. I ran faster than I've ever ran in my life right past that bear. And that 1 kilometer run turned into about a 5 kilometer run because I took the long way around. There's no way I was turning back and dealing with that guy again. So that was my first ever experience with running. Yeah. No way. Yeah. I can't outrun a bear.
And I mean, you actually went out again eventually.
Yeah.
I would have been
years later.
maybe running's not for me. That's scary.
Yeah, no. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was interesting. That's for sure.
So you said years later. You saying you took years off because of the bear incident?
No, no, more just it was so difficult. It wasn't sustainable for me.
Yeah.
Looking back in hindsight, you're new to running. You go out there, and usually new runners just run. They run, fast. They run too hard, and that's what I did, and it scared me away. My breathing got bad. My heart rate was elevated. I just never really went back to it. It was just too much work at the time.
Tell me this then. You grew up with asthma, so you had this lifelong challenge. And during that time, I'm guessing you're going to learn ways to deal with it and to do, exercise. So hockey, like you said, short shifts, running, long periods of time. What were some things you learned along that way to help yourself still exercise and getting over the challenge you had with asthma and to avoid an asthma attack? I don't think Eric has ever had asthma. I've never had it. So this is new to me. I have no clue how to deal with this if it were me.
Yeah. So when being born essentially with asthma, I was told your asthma will probably never leave. You'll have it the rest of your life. And so far it's proven true. I still have it. I'm still on quite a stack of medications. And that was an issue for me. I woke up one day, actually my wedding day, I was 278 pounds, 5'10.5", average height. And something needed to change. And for me, I could never have just a diet because it wasn't sustainable. I didn't have any goals. I wasn't setting any goals through my diet. I didn't want to just lose weight to look good. I needed a lifestyle change. That morning was a huge realization for me. And I decided it might be tough to run. I might need my inhaler a bunch, but I need to adopt a healthy lifestyle. So I went for my first run. That was a few years ago, not too long before I followed you. Actually, and I think you followed me back. Went out for a short run. It was 100 meters. I stopped and took my inhaler, and I decided I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'm going to do the same thing. I went to the track where nobody could see me. I didn't feel, so subconscious. It was just me, a little town of about 2,000 people where I live now. Came back the next day, made it 200 meters, took my inhaler. The next day, 300. Eventually I worked my way up to 1 kilometer, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. My pace got faster. My shin splints started going finally because, I put too many kilometers on them too soon. And then, we have what I did in October. So in October 15th, I ran my first full marathon, which was huge. So to go from that to that, yes, it took me probably 3 years, but I did it whilst listening to my lungs. I did it safely, and I created rules for myself. If I need to stop and take my inhaler once, okay, well, that's okay. I'm not going to push it too hard. If I need to stop to take it 2 times, I created my golden rule. I'm going to stop running. I'm going to come back tomorrow and do it again. And it's led me this far, and who knows how much further it's going to bring me.
You did your 100 meters or your 100 yards or 100 something back and forth.
Yep.
Do you plan your runs back out and backs, or do you do loops to stay close to home? Say you had to use the inhaler twice, but what if you're already 5 miles out? Now you got to get 5 miles home. Do you plan to make those kind of plans? I'm always going to do a loop that's close to home, or how do you go about that?
I don't so much anymore, but I did. When I started getting out of my comfort zone, I was one of my first times, actually, I was 5-10 kilometers away from the house, which is far. It was a long run. And I had a bad attack, and I had my inhaler on me. It doesn't do anything when you're having a bad attack. So I called my wife. Fortunately, there were no twins at the time, so she could come and pick me up, bring me home. I take my mask, I get better. But before that time, and even after that time now, I use Strava so my wife can track my runs as well, and Garmin, so she can follow me as I go out for my runs. But I will typically run the same loops close to the house. I don't mind, seeing the same sights every day. It doesn't bother me. I'm just happy to be out there. So yeah, I'll find a, the same loop that's somewhat close, kilometer loop if I can, and I'll just keep running it back and forth. And yeah, that's fine. Whatever I got to do.
Good for you. So you were saying that you have an inhaler and you'll carry that with you all the time.
Yep.
What is the mask that you were talking about?
Yeah. So, it's called a nebulizer. Goes into a machine which you put on your mask, and the nebulizer essentially turns that liquid into a gas, which goes into your lungs, opens it up. So you're continuously getting that nebulizer into your respiratory system. Unlike an inhaler, which is just a puff here and there. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there in it for 20 minutes. It does help, and if it doesn't help, that's usually when we go to the hospital.
Oh.
Yeah, never
Does
never
that
so
happen
good
to
when
you
that doesn't
often?
help. Not anymore. Since beginning running, I discovered something that I call lung conditioning. That's actually why I started my journey on Instagram. I had no intentions at all to get my name out there, to start a journal. I just wanted to, once I discovered how I was actually helping my lungs, how doing this running was allowing me to go out and walk up a flight of stairs, not take the elevator, or go for a hike, not take my inhaler. I had to share it with everyone because I didn't have that luxury as a kid. I didn't know this existed. I didn't know I could push myself through endurance sports and it would actually benefit me and my lungs and make my life a lot easier, but it has. So every hour that I put into running every single day, it just betters me inside and out, literally.
Yeah, but our podcast is very much focused on the overall community. Runners and run walkers and walkers and wheelchair athletes and hand cyclists. Basically, anybody can be a part of this community.
Mm-hmm.
There's no exclusion for any reason. Like, we want to celebrate everybody. That's why we do our regular episodes, and then we do the Inside the Runner Studio, where we get to know someone from the running community. But yeah, it's been pretty awesome so far.
It is funny he says that, because in our group chat today, I was literally basically saying, I think we should bring back bullying.
She does not.
That was for a solid reason, though.
It was. I was like, that person needed to be bullied out of this.
Didn't involve running.
No.
But that person did need to be bullied.
That's true. Street justice.
Well, what you just explained, Tom, would you call that your identity then? Or do you have an identity do you have like a quote unquote like mission statement or identity? Or is that pretty much what you just told us?
Like for the podcast?
Yeah, I would say it's community is the identity.
Yeah.
100%.
More than anything. Because we kind of do a little bit of everything. We kind of, like, between the four of us, we kind of cover all kinds of, like, we do a lot of trail running and like ultras and things like that. You guys do a lot of the local stuff in Baltimore, and which has a ton of, like, a huge running community with Charm City and all that. We do the Run Disney stuff, obviously. And we do all the different, like, run walk, straight running, hiking. We kind of like do a little bit of everything. So it's not like we're all just like one thing. So I think that's why we focus on like the community part of it a little more than specifics.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, what, 2 hours apart? You're not close by.
Yeah,
You're not
about
like
that.
me and
We're
Erica
about-
who live nearby.
Yeah, we're because like I said, like Tom said, we met through that podcast. So, like everyone that we knew, like that when he's talking about like that bird and hand meetup that we first met at. I mean, we had people from like Texas and California and Maryland and Pennsylvania and Florida, and I mean like all over New Hampshire, like all over the gamut. And so that's sort of what, like when we went to Flying Pig, that was like a meetup that was like made to be for that. So like we had like, 30, 40 people there, but from all over the country. And that's sort of like the Run Disney community is what that sort of is, because everyone's from everywhere. So most of our friends are not actually local to us.
Yeah, it's pretty scattered.
Yeah.
I mean, we have several listeners that are in New Zealand. Wait.
And when he says New Zealand, he means the Netherlands.
I meant the Netherlands.
Yeah.
That's a shout out to our friend Laura.
But we have multiple listeners.
We do have multiple listeners because we have Erica.
Yeah.
I just think it's wild. It's wild that the reach this thing could have.
The reach is huge. Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah.
The episode title card for the Inside the Runner Studio, at the bottom it says "We'll run for," and it's what you guys run for. So like, some people run for their health or their kids or no cheese pizza. So every week we sort of play off of that. Like, what are we running for? Well, this week I'm running because I haven't been running and I should start.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or I'm running for a really great beer or a really great burger that I found, or this place that like I really want to recommend to people, or,
Yeah. And like the something good and what we're running for is part of like bringing the community, allowing the community in, or like how we built community, because we're not like, we're doing X training and we're doing this and we're doing X miles a week at this pace and blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to do this and that, hit this goal or whatever. It's more about just
our journey as people who happen to run.
Yeah.
As much as it is about like running.
And I think that was like the concept of like what we felt like, Team Shenanigans kind of filled that hole for us as a podcast at that time when we were like, they were a bunch of friends who just talked about dumb stuff, who happened to run and were like, friends who drank, who had a running problem. Right. So, that's sort of the vibe we wanted for us. There's so many podcasts out there that do interviews, and I love the interview style for some things, but there's not a ton of podcasts that are just a bunch of friends talking and being dumb with each other and talking about how much running sometimes totally sucks.
Yeah. And how behind we are on our training. And sometimes we'll even like, we want to rant about something. So we'll invent a segment for that week just so that we can vent about what we want to talk about.
Yeah, that's true.
And
also
we
work
talk
for you guys.
We try and be as real as possible. We talk about injuries. We talk about, nutrition and the fact that we suck at it. We talk about like what went wrong with all of our races, what went right with them. It's meant to be everyday runners because not all of us can be the elite athletes that get interviewed on some podcasts.
But I will say, like, and one of our things that we always do every episode is I ask Michael if we have any new 5-star reviews. And we're up to about 90 reviews. We're just shy of 90 reviews, which is incredible for me. But like the best reviews that we get are like, it just seems like I'm sitting in a room with 4 people that are my friends. And it's the most casual conversation. And everybody feels like they can relate to something we're talking about because we're just a mess of a group of people. And then to Aaron's point about like, sometimes we just make up things to talk about. Like we had an entire episode based on, would it be worth it to poop yourself in a race if you knew you were going to win?
Which is right up your alley. That's like the kind of content you guys like.
This topic has come up a few times with some of our guests, and we just love to hear it because it all depends on who you are, how embarrassed you're willing to get. Like, there's so many factors that
Diana and I stand by. There is no circumstance in which it is okay to poop yourself.
No, during a race.
I think we determined the only 2 ones that are worth it are when money's on the line. Or Boston qualifying time.
But how much money?
I don't think Boston qualify would be it for me. No. Like maybe an Olympic, like they just had the Olympic trials, right?
Yeah.
That's only every 4 years.
Yeah.
Like you work 4 years for that possibility. Maybe.
I could add
There's
that to the list.
A tiny itty bitty slim chance that might get me to poop myself, but I'm never going to be there. So it doesn't really matter. And I don't have to make that decision.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat. But we're here for the stories. That's for sure.
it.
Thank you, every one of you. If you're still listening right now, you are one of those people. You're one of those hardcore listeners. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for jumping on the train. Thank you for everything. We're not stopping. We're going to keep going. For the next 100 episodes, it's going to be a blast. And the one person I really need to thank is this person because she takes the time to, like she told her boyfriend, we're doing this for 45 minutes today. Right now, we're an hour and 28 minutes. Oh my God, how am I going to get this edited tonight?
Hopefully you don't have to do a whole lot of editing. Yeah.
Guys,
that's what we do. I do it for you. We do it for each other. We do it for you listeners out there because this is, like he said many times over, this is a passion project of ours. But more so for you because you're putting in all the hard work. But we can't do it if you guys weren't here listening.
There's going to be a lot of exciting things to come. There's going to be another podcast soon that doesn't have our own voices, but it's going to have a familiar voice, and you guys are going to love it. It's different than ours, which is awesome. But it's I'm helping them put it on, and it might be like a brought to you by OTR or something.
Cool.
That will be a lot of fun, and the future is bright. It's going to get bigger.
You're gonna need some sunglasses.
Yeah, so I still got that tan, the ski goggles. But thank you guys, thank you, Erica. You got to go get a package at your door because we figured out what that noise was.
So random.
So thank you though, Erica, for doing this.
My pleasure, dude.
You supported a thing I've wanted to do for years and years and years before we actually did it, and you just trusted me with the process. I remember leaving your deck after we recorded the first time with the microphones and said, "Just stick with me."
And look at where we are now.
Yep. So thank you.
Couldn't have done it without your vision.
And couldn't have done it with everyone who listens. So thank you too. So you guys rock. You're rock stars. Next week's going to be a good one. The Boston weeks are going to be great. You guys are going to love it. So get ready. Buckle up.
And on that note, everybody, thank you for listening to the super extra long episode. You know we love you. And don't forget to stretch.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
Honestly, since like episode 11 when we got Addie's a runner.
Sorry, I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. It looks like an issue with the router and Echo device, so try restarting them. Unplug both of them and plug the router back in. Wait 30 seconds. Once the router is back on,
Just unplug that.
Shut up, Alexa. Anyways, thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach.